accepted slavery. We have to live on it, but we've never wanted it. So we know that this flag is drenched with our blood. So what the young people are saying now, give us a chance to be young men, respected as a man, as we know this country was built on the black backs of black people across this country. And if we don't have it, you ain't gonna have it either, because we gonna tear it up. That's what they saying. And people ought to understand that. I don't see why they don't understand it. They know what they've done to us. All across this country, they know what they've done to us.
Let's listen to that one more time, you guys. One more again. To really get this in your spirit. This is Fannie Mae Hammer.
The flag is drenched with our blood. Because you see, so many of our ancestors was killed because we have never accepted slavery. We have to live on it, but we've never wanted it. So we know that this flag is drenched with our blood. So what the young people are saying now, give us a chance to be young men, respected as a man, as we know this country was built on the black backs of black people across this country. And if we don't have it, you ain't gonna have it either, because we gonna tear it up. That's what they saying. And people ought to understand that. I don't see why they don't understand it. They know what they've done to us. All across this country, they know what they've done to us.
Before you left me, I had it all. You were with me, and that was enough. He came along, and I forgot all about you. I was a fool, but I was enough. My world came to tell you my world came to an end. And then because you've earned my love. And I just want to say it's because of you. I'm rising now. My will came to. You said the world came to an end. Then you came back. Nobody but you. Oh, you changed everything. Now I know. I want my heart to live. You see, there's no way. No, 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 no. I can't make it without you. Came to an end. Then you came back again. Now I know. You said there is no way. I can go on without you. I can't go on without you.
Thank you guys for coming through. This is For Black Righteous Folks Home. We're going to go through Trump's executive orders that he just recently signed on Valentine's Day. Unbothered. He picks the most, he doesn't care about holidays or anything to do these executive orders. It's just kind of laughable that he would do it on Valentine's Day. But I figured I would let you guys hear that, and I will give my opinions about that. And then later on, we'll talk and discuss about Pan-Africans, or basically, in my opinion, trying to capture our identity. And it's trying to be done against our will. It is not unity, it's capture, attempted capture. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. But first, with all the videos that I shall show, it will be under the Copyright Act of 1976 for commentary, research, observation, entertainment, all the above, not meaning to infringe, but to inform and to enlighten in real time of what's going on here and now. The first video that I showed was a civil rights advocate, powerful lady, Fannie Lou Hamer. And this is Black History Month. I guess there's an opinion that we're not supposed to have Black History Month at all, but I have a channel and I can still talk about certain things. And before this month is over, I'm going to bring up a couple of other people just to keep that type of understanding in the atmosphere about what has been and what should be moving forward, so that we have like a reference point. So let me now get to Trump's video. I hope that you guys would support by hitting the like button, share, and subscribe. And everything that I talk about is not about hate mongering or being divisive or all these other things that people like to put out there. It is about just telling the truth and shaming the devil. It's about being righteous in this moment with truth. And we have to be transparent and honest as best we can. So hopefully people will start understanding me a little bit better. If they really listen, you will get there. But yeah, this is about Trump right now. So we're going to listen to his signing of executive orders and speaking to reporters in the Oval Office right now.
Thank you very much for being here. We have largely an energy group today. We're looking to be very energy dominant, and we will be in a very short order. These are great professionals, but before we do that, we'll be signing an executive order having to do with COVID and schools. Lindsay?
Yep. So this first executive order, it prohibits federal funding for COVID-19 mandates, vaccine mandates in schools.
Okay, and that will meaning they want to clear that up,
Yep.
the discrepancy.
So any schools that require students to be vaccinated with COVID-19 shot, then there's no more federal funding. So.
Okay. Okay, that solves that problem.
So will the Department of Education have to handle that?
Yes, it'll go through the Department of Education. Okay? Thanks.
Can I make one comment, Mr. President?
Yes, please.
As a father of 9, thank you. We should have parental freedom to decide what vaccines our kids take, as opposed to school systems and governors forcing upon the people that love these kids the most, which is the parents. So thank you for signing that.
Great, thank you very much. People wanted that very badly. Okay.
Okay, and here is an executive order establishing the National Energy Dominance Council. So that will be chaired by the Secretary of the Interior, Mr. Burgum, and the Vice Chair, Chris Wright. And so this will reduce costs with respect to energy, establish American independence with energy, and also unleash energy dominance.
Good, thank you. And this is a big deal. We have more energy than any other country, and now we're unleashing it, to put it nicely. And I'd like to ask Doug, you're going to be heading it up. You and Chris, would you say a few words about it, please?
Yeah, absolutely, sir. Good afternoon. President Trump wisely understood that under the Biden administration, there was a war against American energy, and today that war officially has ended. President Trump on day one declared a national energy emergency. And this is a real emergency because under the Biden administration restricted the production of oil and gas. Production's still coming, but when you stop holding leases, when you take 625 million acres of land out of ocean land, out of production possibilities through an executive order, you're really restricting the balance sheet of America. But today, as President Trump said, this is unleashed. The National Energy Dominance Council will be made up, all the folks that are standing beside me here, other cabinet leaders, and many more, represent President Trump's wise decision that we need a whole of government approach to unwind. The Biden administration had a whole of government approach that had the war against U.S. energy. Now we need to turn that around 180 degrees and unleash that potential. We've got to unleash it from the Gulf of America all the way up to Alaska. We have amazing resources in this country, and we haven't been getting a return on them. Many of these are under public lands. The interior has 500 million acres of surface, 700 million acres of subsurface minerals, critical minerals, and offshore close to 2 billion acres. And that balance sheet is the biggest balance sheet in the world, and it's been completely underutilized. Everybody knows we have 36 trillion in debt as a country, but no one knows how many hundreds of trillions of dollars of assets we have. And President Trump is asking us to go get a return on that investment for the American people. And with that, we're going to have prosperity at home with lower prices. And we're also going to have peace abroad, because the wars that we've been engaged in, or our allies have been fighting over the past few years, have been funded by the oil sales of our adversaries. And so we have an opportunity, and we also are in an AI arms race with China. The only way we win that is with more electricity. And we also have an energy emergency in terms of electricity. Too much intermittent, unreliable, not enough base load. We've been shutting down the base load that we have. President Trump is going to reverse that, and it's going to allow us to win the AI arms race, which is the most important thing that we have to do relative to our future. So with that, I want to say again, thank you to President Trump, and I want to thank my fellow members of the Energy Council here. I'm going to kick it over to the Vice Chair, Chris Wright, who's the Secretary of the Department of Energy.
Thank you, Secretary Burgum. Today is truly a great day for our country today. And Secretary Burgum laid out so many of the problems the last 4 years. If you put barriers in front of energy, you make it more expensive, you make it less reliable, you make it harder to do business here, and harder for our consumers to pay their bills. With this fantastic action from our president, we now have authority across the government to lean in to fix these problems. And I'll start out with one specific right away. This morning, I signed our first LNG export license, unpausing the pause in action. The Commonwealth LNG project that'll be on the Gulf Coast in Louisiana is now officially ready to go. This will be a large construction project for American workers. It'll draw demand for more American energy production that'll be shipped overseas to our allies. Many more of those to come. We're also working aggressively to roll back standards that have made appliances more expensive for Americans, and dishwashers that take 2 hours long and don't get your dishes clean. Nobody likes that. That's about standing in the way. And with this President Trump and our new National Energy Dominance Council, there's so many things we can do to make American lives better, bring down costs and grow opportunities. And with that, I'm going to kick it over to a fellow member of the council, our Administrator of the EPA, Lee Zeldin.
Thank you, Secretary, and honored to be serving on the Energy Dominance Council. At EPA, we're doing our part to power the great American comeback. And President Trump has made it clear that he wants EPA to be doing our job to ensure that we are unleashing energy dominance however we can help, that we are assisting in making America the AI capital of the world, that we are pursuing permitting reform, that we are helping to bring back American auto jobs. This is the mandate of the American public. The Trump mandate, it was clear, and the guidance from President Trump to me when he asked me, thankfully, for the opportunity for us to be able to serve together in partnership to unleash energy dominance. This is a moment that we must meet. To that end, it is important to note that the prior Biden-Harris EPA issued a waiver to California for tailpipe emissions. This was a rule that should have been submitted to Congress. We will submit it to Congress. Congress will have the opportunity through the Congressional Review Act to make that waiver go away. We will do everything in our part to help the American people to make life in America more affordable. The golden age of American success is upon us. If you're excited about the last 3 weeks, that was just a taste of the main event, the entree to come, the next 4 years being the greatest term in the history of the American presidency.
He did not say it's just a taste, because a lot of people have other views about how he's been moving. So quick, very, very unpredictable. A lot of people are losing their jobs. Federal workers are losing their jobs, CDC workers, vets, CIA rather. A lot of people have lost their jobs, up to 10,000 employees so far. Let me see if I can find that video that talks about that, because he's not painting the picture completely correct, because people that are being affected by losing their jobs so suddenly, no one is really talking about that. But I am going to try to be fair and talk about some of the things that has happened. Let me give you the first from multiple staff at National Nuclear Security Administration fired. Hold on. But I want to get to the one about the federal workers. But I want y'all to hear ultimately what is happening in real time, because it's important. So let me get to this, and I'll find the federal workers in a minute. Please hit that like button. Please share and subscribe.
Termination notices were given to multiple civil servants within the Department of Energy. NBC's Garrett Hake is reporting from Washington, D.C. Garrett, what more do we know about this?
Chris, we were just talking about this as we're trying to follow these cuts across the federal government in drips and drabs. The latest bit of information coming in from the National Nuclear Security Agency, which is tasked with overseeing and building the nation's nuclear weapons stockpile. Their notices have gone out with termination for probationary employees effective immediately. We don't know exactly how many people were targeted by this, but it comes even as there's been news of attack by someone on the Chernobyl nuclear plant in Ukraine, with this agency is responsible for monitoring for the U.S. The Energy Department just responded to NBC News' requests about this with a statement saying in part that it's less than half of 1% of the NNSA's workforce that's been affected here, and that they believe essentially that they can continue going on with the mission. Chris, I don't think this will be the last we've heard today. Since we last spoke, I heard from a source at the IRS who said, this is one of those agencies where they might want to get rid of probationary employees whom they need to continue to get through tax filing season. So it's a bit of an ad hoc process, and we're watching as these cuts continue to ripple out across the federal government today.
Okay, but there's more. There is more. So him working with Trump is not going to feel the same effects that other ordinary people are feeling around America. So we just have to keep that plain, because as of yesterday, the Department of Veterans Affairs fired over 1,000 employees, for instance, and there's just been so many firings. I don't know what is about to happen with some of these disgruntled employees. Are they going to lash out? Are they going to feel like they need to get revenge? I hope not. Just a lot of stuff is going on.
The Department of Veterans Affairs fires more than 1,000 employees. The department notified the public in a press release. The layoffs include non-bargaining unit probationary employees with less than a year in competitive service appointment or less than 2 years in accepted service appointment. Officials say these cuts save more than $98 million per year, with the funds being used for VA beneficiaries. NBC Montana reached out to the state VA. They declined to comment. However, two members of Montana's congressional delegation who served in the military provided these statements. U.S. Senator Tim Sheehy says, as a veteran, he will work to make sure Montana veterans come first. That means prioritizing less money and bureaucrats, overhead, obsolete buildings, and failed software updates, while spending more money on actual veterans. A spokesperson for U.S. Representative Ryan Zinke said cuts to frontline healthcare workers are not on the table, but there is bloat at the administrative and bureaucratic level. NBC Montana will continue to follow these developments and will bring you updates on air and online. Find our article online at nbcmontana.com.
Okay, so if you thought that that was over, no, not exactly. It goes on and on and on. Let me see. Recently, of course, FEMA CFO Trump fired over illegal funding for migrant luxury hotels. I think like $80 million worth. He was able to snatch up that money before they could be paid out for these migrants that supposedly getting deported. You know, they're supposed to be getting deported, but monies was available for them to live in a luxury hotel up to $80 million, and Trump went and snatched that money up. Let's listen to this. Please hit the like button.
FEMA's Chief Financial Officer, Mary Comond, has been fired for illegally funding migrant luxury hotels in New York City against the orders of Donald Trump. Now, it comes after the Doge team discovered that FEMA sent $59 million last week to luxury hotels in New York City to house illegal migrants, and they were being charged double the normal hotel rate. I mean, this money is supposed to be going to Americans for disaster relief.
And look, I live in New York. I have reported on this issue for months now, and it is staggering just to show you how much strain this new influx of migrants has put on one of the greatest cities in the world. So in the last 2 years, there have been about 200,000 or so immigrants that have come into the city, having been bussed in from red states. The cost of housing and feeding these migrants costs more than all emergency services combined in the city. Now that is a staggering percentage, and it just goes to show why New York City had one of the biggest pro-Trump swings across the whole country. I think this place is absolutely sick of what's going on with the treatment of these migrants and also the way they've been housed. And that is extraordinary, just how much has been spent on luxury hotels and whatnot. So hopefully this will be coming to an end soon.
Absolutely. James Bulow, editor at Unheard, thank you so much for joining us on Power Hour. I appreciate it.
Thanks very much.
All right. Pan-Africans are escapism, lying fraudsters. Let me put that into the chat. They are a people that believe that there is such a thing as universal oneness, melanated folks that are here in America, the Caribbeans and Africans somehow can come together and have this great big love and understanding and work together financially and build a utopia in Africa somewhere. without asking first if the people that you have this vision for is even interested. And since most of us are not even interested, we get a lot of backlash of, gaslighting and badgering and accusatory stuff. Oh, you hate yourself. Oh, you're lost. All these things. Like I said, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, none of the stuff was going on. This is not my issue. And I'm not allowing Pan-Africans to capture me and my identity. No, there won't be no capturing like slave times. Like how some people be coming after us. It's like they're on this little trip of capturing folks. Really weird. It's insane. But that's Pan-Africanism. I describe it as being a way to hide and conceal what you're really about by claiming this oneness crap while you're trying to get monies, donations, and other things, claiming to build this and claiming to build that, but pocketing the money. Look at Umar Johnson. Look at Dr. Eric Connor. Look at all the other Pan-Africans, for real. Look at them. They benefit themselves. They don't benefit nobody else, and they eat off of us until there's nothing left. So Pan-Africanism to me is a fraud, and it's used as a medium of escapism. So you don't have to face what realities are right in front of your face here in America. So you are constantly talking about Africa, but you're actually in America looking stupid talking about Africa all the damn time. That's what Pan-Africanism is. Okay, let me get back to where I was. Let me just go ahead and read some more chats, and then I'll get back to where I was at. I kind of lost my train of thought, but maybe I needed to. I don't know. What's up, L. Nicholson? I don't understand what that means. Josh says Gulf of America. LOL, what a money and what'd you say? Resource grab. Oh, hold on. Where are all my moderators? What's going on, people? Y'all hiding in the clouds for real? Come on down, y'all. Whoever's out there, please come down. I need to have a smart moderator in the chat room. Let me see. Where was I? Okay, there's a lot of stuff to go through as far as what he's doing, as far as all these firings, and I'm going to get back to more of the firings.
There's a lot of stuff to go through as far as...
Hold on. Okay, let me go back up. You said electric meg gut windmill for medium inverted vertex 2 of free energy. I don't know what that means. You're right, Brian Needham. He was bronze. Trump 2025. Mike is still on fire for Trump. Woot, hell yeah, get a job. Leave the kids alone, says. Tahanka says Pan-Africans needs to sit down somewhere. Yeah, they need to go away, far away. They have all these plans for us. Get citizenship, go travel, go build, get land, trust this, do that. All these things they have in mind for little old you to be partaking in while they benefit off of everything about you. Very interesting. Honest question, leave the kids alone, says, okay, I don't know what the question was. I just answered it. Tahaka says that is crazy because they only gave us $750, which is wild. You're talking about the hurricane in North Carolina? Is that what you're referencing to? And yes, Pan-Africans are escapism artists, lying fraudsters. They don't know how to face themselves for real as real men and face the reality, what's going on in front of their faces. And so they're always looking to find a way to escape mentally. It's like they teleport themselves over to Africa. They don't want to really be there, but they teleport themselves there. They might go visit a couple of weeks or so, but they're not trying to really be there. But they talk really big and loud, talk about building and doing all these different things, knowing damn well ain't nobody coming over there like that. Ain't nobody trusting you to give you no money like that. But they like to hear themselves speak. That's the thing. Caller likes to hear himself speak. He really think he speaks well. How you doing, Christine Flower? Rapture Bound says, I spent 14 years in one of the largest hospitals in the United States, Department of Defense contractor to the VA. The waste and mismanagement of VA is mind-blowing. So you think, Rapture Bound, that this is the right direction in which Trump is taking? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Let me understand it, because I don't know. But, you know, if that is the truth, that they needed to do a clearinghouse, a cleanup job, because it was so backed up and it's so bad, who am I to say that it shouldn't be done, you know, if that's what's really going on? But, you know, all the corruptions and all that. And I will get back to Trump in a little bit. I just want to show a little bit of what he's been doing outside of his signing of his executive orders, because he's been doing a great deal of firing, like a lot. For instance,
every month, and here's how you can get cut of it. Mine in their probationary period. On the other hand, the U.S. Forecast Service planned to terminate more than 3,000 staff members. The termination emails were sent to workers, mostly recently hired employees, still on their probation period. Aditya Wadhawan, my colleague, is there with me live on the broadcast to share more details. Aditya, while in fact major announcements are taking place, there are in fact big decisions that have been signed, executive orders that have been witnessed by the newly re-elected the Donald Trump as the U.S. president. This is a big shocker for the service care industry in the U.S., where nearly 1,000 workers have been laid off.
Since the Donald Trump has become the U.S. president, firings have happened. We recently just saw that a mass number of employees who were employed with the USAID, which oversees funding to other foreign countries, were terminated. Now this comes at a time when both Elon Musk, who is looking after the Department of Government Efficiency, and the President Donald Trump have.
Well, I'm having a hard time understanding him. So if I am, I'm sure you guys are. He's an Indian, has a thick accent. But basically, the whole point of me showing that is that the U.S. government laid off over 9,500 employees recently. So that's why I played that. Let me see what else you guys are saying before I get back to Trump in the Oval Office. You said disassociation? I don't know about that. Tahaka says they talk Africa but won't leave and live there. I know. Tahaka, it is so frustrating, and they are taking turns badgering us, beating us up, bullying us. It's, I really want to come out of character sometimes, and I really would want to go to a couple of places and really loke up, but I just don't, I can't draw myself to do it, but it's just been something that's stirring, that wants to let it be known this is ridiculous what you're doing and how you're talking, talking down on Black American women. All these different things is continually happening in regards to Pan-African talk. They are anti-American. Pan-Africans are anti-American, flat out. They shouldn't even be here. They hate America so much they should go. They preach that they hate it. They preach that they need to be freed and have their own shit. Go get it. Go get it. If you're illegal, leave. Exactly. Simple. Get a job, make a job, find a need, fill a need. I heard that. Beam me up, Scotty. Rapture Bound says yes. B. Bosterston. You said, I'm friends with 7 families that have built in Ghana and Liberia. U.S. is defunct. What do you mean by that? You mean that it's not good? Is that a word that's saying that they're bankrupt or they're just problematic? Or you mean dysfunctional? What do you mean by defunct? I guess I don't understand that word. But are you having a good time building in Ghana and Liberia? Or are you successful over there, or are you struggling? Are you being scammed? Are you being taken advantage of? What is your situation? Let me know. Yeah, Ghana is bankrupt. In fact, I'm glad you guys brought that up, because the past Minister of Finance, his name was Ken Afari Atata. He is being looked at. He's a sought after fugitive right now from Ghana. He was the past Minister of Finance to Ghana for a number of years, and he did some shady, shisty stuff with banks. And now he's being wanted in Ghana as we speak. Let me see if I can find that article. But I had talked about him before because he is related to President Otto, the previous president of Ghana. President Otto, the one that did the year return. And they brought him to be the finance minister, and he did a whole lot of stuff pertaining to banks, had issues with banks and other things. Very shady, very shisty. Where can I find this? Okay, Ken. Yeah, I'm going to talk about him since you brought him up. Ken Akafu Afori Akata. Let me see if this is right. Yes, okay. All right. It says 3 days ago, this ex-finance minister, Ken Afari Atata, who held the post in 2017 to 2024, is implicated in several high-profile corruption cases. And I have been warning about this guy alongside President Otto, because they were accused of money laundering, and they were accused of dealing with indigenous banks and collapsing these indigenous banks and hijacking people's monies that was in those banks, and the people had the monies locked down to where they couldn't get their money. And I talked about that. I forewarned my people about not going to Ghana because they are very corrupt, and all they look at us as a way and a means to try to get money from us and hustle us through emotionalism. But I can't tell my people simply that, because they're so stupid, because they got a DNA damn test talking about I'm Nigerian. I'm from Sierra Leone. I'm Tanzanian. They're just turned dumb on me. It's very frustrating because they don't even see what is happening and how people are maneuvering to hustle us. And it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Let me see what else you're saying. But have you heard about him before? Ken Afaro. Wait, is it Ken Afari Atata? Yeah, they're bankrupt. Benjamin says when you're not filling a need in your job, they call that invisible unemployment. U.S. national debt is 37 trillion. I know. I thought, 37 trillion. Glenn Powell, did you get help from your country or state Veterans Service Bureau? Most countries have them, Amber asked. They love us because we spend money, not because we're supposed to be brothers and sisters. That's all it is. That's all it is. Until you ain't got nothing left, they want to get all that you got, and you'll be in the same position as many other migrants and other people that are struggling around the world once you allow them to pickpocket you in such a way where you can't get back. And you're captured, you're done, you're toast. Trey says Trump doesn't want to speak on racism that happens to minorities in America, but he'll speak on the colonization in South Africa. Remember, the Dutch invaded Africa. They're taking their land back. I heard, I'm thinking about maybe writing Trump a letter. I actually am thinking about writing him a letter. I think he would read it. Because there's certain things that he needs to understand. Because there's a lot of people that's trying to speak for Black Americans, indigenous to America, that are not us, that are trying to capture us, and they're calling that shit unity. They're strategically trying to break us down and erase our identity by calling Pan-African and calling it unity. There's some bullshit going on. A lot of bullshit is happening. But let me get back to this. Honest question. Oh, I asked that. Answered that. I read that. If you're legal, leave. Simple. Okay. I read that. A lot of veterans like myself have been denied our benefits what rightfully earned. See, Glenn, that's the part that I don't like, and I hope Trump will change it around like he says. What I'm hoping, Glenn, honestly, is that he's going to sift through, comb through all the funds, redirect those funds to the right appropriate places and people to be assisted, and block and stop the senseless amounts of money that's going where it's not supposed to go, to bless where it's supposed to be a blessing to the people that it's meant to be a blessing to, which are Americans, American first. So you as a veteran should have first dibs on getting some type of program of help, especially if you're homeless. I hope that you are going to get helped, try to get with the Veterans Affairs or whatever it's called to maybe get an advocate for speaking on your behalf to see how he could try to maneuver and help out the vets. Jackie Vasquez says, leave Trump alone. He knows what he is doing. So does Elon. Leave them alone. They're the only ones that's cared enough to fix this shit. I'm not bothering them, Jackie. I'm on the side of Trump and Elon. I'm not so sure about Elon as much as Trump, because Elon just came from nowhere. He has his own allegiances to South Africa, and he has other views of thoughts that I don't know about. But Trump has been president before, so I have a little bit of understanding with Trump. I'm giving him time to do right, but he's moving very quick, which is kind of scary and unpredictable. You have to admit that. Am I saying that I want him to fail? No, I want him to do good. That is my hope, that he's going to continue to do good. African Goddess says, yes, Africa works for some Black Americans, but it should not be sold as a utopia. It is not easy there. Yeah, if other Africans don't want to be there, stop trying to make us feel like we need to go. And there are active people that are working, I'm noticing, in concert all over the place talking about citizenship now. And I'm telling you, in my spirit, I want y'all to mark my words. In my spirit, I feel like getting all these different fast-paced citizenships from over abroad is going to end up biting some of y'all in the butt. I don't know how, and I don't know when. I just know, all I know is a policy can change, or a different rule could be applied. A different circumstance could be perceived, and things will change quick as far as your status as an American. I do believe that something's going to happen with that. People can say what they want, but I would not put it past Trump to try to say that if you got other citizenships and other allegiances, other abroad, and you're over there so much time and you're doing this and you're doing that, then that is where you need to be. And then what you going to say? You said when you're not filing a need in a job, your job they call the invisible employment. U.S. national debt is $37 trillion. Yes. Glenn Powell, did you get help from your county or state Veteran Service Bureau? Most countries have them. They love us because we spend money and not because we're supposed to be brothers and sisters. Yeah, that's all it is. That's the truth. We are being hustled in America too. Welcome to the party. Yeah, we're being hustled in America too, but we know that that game in America is about surviving. It's about not being pulled into unnecessary bullshit and staying out of the way of other people's manipulations and expectations to cause you to do stuff that you need not do. Self-preservation is what you need to maintain in America. That's basically the game we playing in America. Going out to Africa is about a new frontier, a whole new world. You don't have the sense of the pulse of what it is a beast of sorts. And all kinds of things could pop off to where you are at a disadvantage or you miscalculated out there. That's the truth. Trey says Trump doesn't want to speak on racism. That happens to minorities in America, but he'll speak on the colonization in South Africa. Remember, the Dutch invaded Africa. They're taking their land back. Yeah, I'm not missed on the fact that he is trying to get them to come to America, farmers, and he is on the side of helping them without hearing both sides first. He's taken a side, obviously. Obviously, he has in his mind to benefit Musk people. Isn't that Elon Musk people, technically? So he's trying to give them a leg up, which it means like he's trying to give him, a favor because of his loyalty. But the people, I don't think they want to go to America like that. They're content where they are. They just don't want to have issues with the land. That's about it. Okay, let me see. Where was I? Only criminals are against Doge. Yeah, you're right about that, Brent. Veterans dying on American streets. American government's paying for every country. Yeah, that's the problem, Brent. That's the problem right there. We keep on looking to other countries to care about their needs and their wars and their situation. Ukraine is looking for money. He's looking for other military assistance. Still, but what about Americans? He has to settle that war to where that situation is not our problem no more, because it is too much of a clingy situation where they're clinging onto America for, doing whatever in all things. Trump makes 39 cabinet and other top appointments, one black, UHUD, as usual, says it all. Yeah, I know, because the man already was given his orders, which I'm going to get into that maybe this live, if not this live, the next live, to talk about the different programs that have been affected, such as Section 8 and supposedly food stamps and whatnot. Is going to be affected. I need to talk about that as well, because people are coming out talking about it. Yes, Trump. Yeah. Homeless people like me don't get help. Only drug and welfare addicts and mental patients get help. Trump and Elon are our best bet. I hope you're right, nobody. I hope you are right. Moving to quick. Okay. Elon Musk has over 400 million. I can assure you he doesn't want your money. I can assure that too. There's no such thing as last-paced citizenship. It is. If you're running around going to get citizenship and you don't really know the ins and outs of what you're doing, and maybe how down the line that might bite you in the ass, as far as you shouldn't have done it because other policies and rules have been created behind what you have done, to where you're locked in and you can't maneuver the way that you thought. Maybe you can't enter back into America, or maybe something might be perceived that you're the citizen to whatever country that you recently got citizenship. I don't think people understand Trump and how unpredictable the man is and his perception of citizenship. I wouldn't want to toy with his perception. He's working on birthright citizenship now, and people that spend time out of America for a duration of time might be in trouble. There are stories of people talking about something happened to where something was snatched up, one of their passports, because they did it the wrong way or something crazy. All right, 400 plus years Africans have been at the end of the whip and chain and rope in North America. Don't forget that. D. Barterson, those people are my ancestors partly. They're not the only ancestors. It was a mixed bag of people. And there was only a few of those so-called enslaved Africans. You cannot put them on a pedestal of worship. You can't do that. I have other ancestors that also made me up, where we all were reclassified. And remembering Africans from 400 years ago, my answer to that is I am my ancestor. I don't have to worship that ancestor. I embody the ancestor. I don't sit up there and worship them. I'm not doing all of that. That's crazy. I'm not supposed to worship anything other than God. So acknowledging an ancestor without knowing that that person exists is kind of premature. And it's not catching my emotions. There is no victim mentality. You always say that. A lot of you guys like to put that out there just because you guys have nothing better else to say. Ukraine has already gotten a lot of our money. I know. And they're trying to get some more. Let me see if I can find. I think I'm gonna dip to another video. I found it very alarming that the president of Ukraine was talking about European power and military just doing the most talks. And he brought up America. He wants to really urge for a stronger European presence in defense. He's warning against backroom peace deals. This is one of the things that Trump has to deal with. I want you to give you an example of what his expectations are. Everybody has expectations to what Americans are supposed to do for them. And we don't get nothing in return. They just get all the goods and all the weapons and all the money. And that has to be changed. You can't just have a emptied checkbook to sign on or get monies from.
Million Russian troops currently fighting in Ukraine. Where they gonna fight if not in Ukraine? This is why we cannot just agree to a ceasefire without real security guarantees. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe in Europe, and I'm sure you believe too. And I urge you to act for your own sake. Many leaders have talked about Europe that needs its own military, an army of Europe. And I really believe that time has come. The armed forces of Europe must be created. Without Ukraine's army, Europe's armies will not be enough to stop Russia. It's reality for today. Only our army in Europe has real modern battlefield experience. But our army alone is not enough and we need what you can provide: weapons, training, sanctions, financing, political pressure, and unity. And
he wants an awful lot, and he's been getting that for a couple of years now. A couple of years. Some of this stuff has to be stopped.
Clear intel that this summer Russia plans to send troops to Belarus under the pretext of training exercises. But that's exactly how they staged forces before their full-scale invasion to Ukraine 3 years ago. Make no mistake, North Koreans are not weak. They are learning how to fight now, how to fight the modern war. And what about your armies? Are they ready? And if Russia launches a false flag operation or just straight up with no insignia from Belarus, like how Crimea got taken in 2014, how fast will the allies respond? And will they respond at all? Everything needed to protect lives in modern war should be produced in Europe fully. Europe has everything it takes. Europe just needs to come together and start acting in a way that no one can say no to Europe. But America needs to see where Europe is heading. And this direction of European policy shouldn't just be promising, it should make America want to stand with a strong Europe. This is absolutely possible, I'm sure of it. And we must shape that course. Europe must decide its own future. Mark Rutte, my good friend, is listening to me right now. And Mark, my friend, this isn't about replacing the alliance. This is about making Europe's contribution to our partnership equal to America's. And we need the same approach when it comes to diplomacy, working together for peace. Ukraine will never accept deals made behind our backs without our involvement. Next, some in Europe may be frustrated with Brussels, but let's be clear. If not Brussels, then Moscow. It's your decision. That's why we need a unified foreign policy, a coordinated diplomacy, the foreign policy of common Europe, and let the end of this war be our first shared success in this new reality. And I also will not take NATO membership for Ukraine off the table. But right now, the most influential member of NATO seems to be Putin, because his whims have the power to block NATO decisions. That's why we are talking about security guarantees. And that's why we believe that the core of any security guarantees for Ukraine must be NATO membership. Or if not that, then conditions that allow us to build another NATO right here in Ukraine. Because at some point there will be a border between war and peace. Where that border is drawn and how strong it is up to us. So what happens to the million Russian troops currently fighting in Ukraine? Where they gonna fight if not in Ukraine? This is why we cannot just agree to a ceasefire without real security guarantees, without pressure on Russia, without a system to keep Russia in check. Slava Ukraine!
Okay, so he wants to keep Russia in check. He wants more money. He wants more military. He wants more people to work for and with him in his pursuit of military action. A lot of more we clinging, we need America. And somehow Trump's going to have to figure out how to get away from that particular situation because it's too consuming. It has brought us in too close to what the war has been about, and it's not our war. We're paying for it as if it is our war. And I think that Trump is smart enough to understand that that war needs to be done with already. So hopefully their talks will manifest some truth of change for the better. But it remains to be seen because, you know, every side wants to make sure that they're not being done a little bit underhandedly. But I just hope that it works out. Because it's been going on for too long and it's costing an awful lot of money. And we need that money for what we got going on. So let me go back now to Trump. I'll let you guys hear a little bit of the firings that have been happening with the Fed workers and whatnot. There's a lot of stuff to talk about, actually. But let me get back to Trump because he's still doing his executive orders. So we're going to hear more about that. Let me rewind that a little bit. Please hit the like button. Don't be shy.
Make that waiver go away. We will do everything in our part to help the American people to make life in America more affordable. The golden age of American success is upon us. If you're excited about the last 3 weeks, that was just a taste of the main event, the entree to come, the next 4 years being the greatest term in the history of the American presidency. With that, I'd like to introduce Sean Duffy.
Thank you. So, first of all, thank you for the work on dishwashers. We use more water to wash our dishes before we put them in the dishwasher. We're not saving water, we're using more water, so thank you for that. But I'm also joining the EPA. We've introduced our rules to start to look at the CAFE standards. So we're looking at how much it costs for end users when they put gas in their car. In the Biden era, standards are costing billions of dollars in taxes and carbon credits, which drive up the cost of vehicles. And so we're going to remedy that, rectify it, and make sure we're bringing down the cost of a car, number one. Number two, if I can just mention, Mr. President, per your direction, we are going to move forward with a permitting process for the Texas Gulf Link deep water port, making sure we can move energy in and out of the country. So that was held up for 5 years. It was stonewalled, bureaucrats got in the way. We're now going to move forward with that, making sure we have great oil infrastructure in the country.
Great, thanks.
Howard Lutnick?
Yes.
So, the nanny state, you're feeling the end of the nanny state. From straws made of paper to regulation endlessly harming Americans and holding us back. It slows down our production and manufacturing, which we were talking about with the Prime Minister of India yesterday. You're hearing that about energy dominance. It's going to go away. We're going to care about Americans. The Trump administration and this president cares about Americans, and you're going to feel it change. You're going to feel the price of energy coming down. You're going to feel prices coming down. You're going to feel an explosion. The golden age of manufacturing of America has always been there. It's just been stifled by regulation, and that time is over.
Thank you very much, John.
The sea has been our guide for over 30 years.
And that time is over.
Thank you very much, John.
Mr. President, I just want to say that you've built such an incredible team, and Secretary and Chairman Burgum, that he's been working on this his whole life. And so what I expect you to see, sir, is action as early as next week that is going to shock people about how good it is for Americans. And so thank you for your leadership, sir.
Thank you very much, Kevin. And we are also working on a project that has been under wraps for 20 years. Everybody wanted it. It's been held up by New York. It's a pipeline that will bring down the energy prices in New York and in all of New England by 50, 60, 70%. It should have been done years ago. We'll be speaking to New York, and the New York is actually the biggest beneficiary because their energy costs are very high. This will reduce it very substantially. But all of the governors want this to happen, and I think it's going to happen. It's now going to happen. It's something that's would rather not have to go eminent domain. We'll do that if we have to in New York, but hopefully we won't have to do that. This again will bring down energy prices in New England by numbers that nobody can even believe, probably 50, 60%, maybe even more than that. A lot of them don't even pay energy because they have no energy. They use logs. They go out and they cut down a tree. It's really a terrible situation. So we're going to get this done, and we can have it done once we start construction. We're looking at anywhere from 9 to 12 months, if you can believe it. It's going to go very rapidly. The other thing I'd like Doug to mention, the 635 million acres that Biden so viciously took out of our net worth. If you look at it from the standpoint of a company, you talk about net worth. They've destroyed our net worth. We're putting it back. It will be back as of this afternoon. And Doug, could you mention that? All of the millions and millions of acres that he just handed back.
Yes, the executive order by President Biden that wiped out these trillions from our balance sheet. President Trump signed an executive order instructing me as the Secretary of Interior to unban that ban, and that's been accomplished. And so those are back on the U.S. balance sheet.
Okay.
Which one is that? The 625 million acres of offshore that was banned from further lease sales.
Further anything.
625 million acres is right. 1/3 the size of the lower 48 that was taken off our balance sheet. It's back on there now. President Trump cares about the American people. He knows that these public lands belong to the public. They don't belong to Washington bureaucrats from the prior administration. And we're going to make sure that we get a return on investment for the American people.
The amount of money that he took off our balance sheet, if you look at a balance sheet, it was incalculable. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And he did that, I guess, in the last few days of the administration. He just wiped it out. 635 million acres, which if you sit down and look, it's like that's a major part of the ocean. and he just gave it away and took it away. And fortunately, it wasn't done with an act of Congress or anything, and we did it in a, I think, very abbreviated, very quick, and very legal procedure. And it's now back on our balance sheet. It's back as part of our country. What they did was so horrible. It was just a terrible thing to do, an unbelievable thing to do. Also, they mentioned dishwashers and sinks and showers and the whole thing. We're going to get rid of those restrictions. You have many places where they have water. They have so much water they don't know what to do with it. But people buy a house, they turn on the sink and water barely comes out. They take a shower and water barely comes out. And it's an unnecessary restriction. And basically, I think we're going to be going back to the Trump rule. We had it, and everybody was happy. And then these people came in and they restricted it again. So we're going back, and we'll get it approved by Congress. In addition, we'll get it approved by Congress. So for 4 years, it's good, but we're going to get it permanently taken care of. And again, very environmentally friendly. But we want to be able to, when somebody turns on a sink to wash their hands or presses the button for a dishwasher, and there's barely enough water there's no water. And you know what they do? They press the button 10 times. They run it 10 times. So it ends up costing a lot more. So I know you're working on that. And where are we on that?
We're working closely with the Department of Energy with regards to rules that were enacted during the Biden administration. Inside of the EPA, we are overhauling the water sense standards that are there to update them for the American people, to bring down cost of living and combat inflation, and just pursue common sense.
Good. Well, we have more oil and gas than anybody else in the world. We're opening up ANWR again. As you know, we got something Ronald Reagan couldn't do it. No president was able to do it. I got it. And the first week in office, the Biden administration terminated that. ANWR is the biggest site, probably bigger than Saudi Arabia. We don't know yet, but it's of that size or bigger. And we hit gold, and I call it liquid gold, but we hit gold, and for whatever reason, they terminated it, and we were just ready to start utilizing it. This could take care of all of Asia, energy-wise, very close to Japan. In fact, Japan wants to go and be our partner doing the pipeline going right into the ships. So they expressed tremendous interest. So did Prime Minister Modi of India. And just in closing, both Prime Minister Modi and the Prime Minister of Japan, both very good people, they said we couldn't make a deal. We couldn't get any energy. I mean, you wonder what was going on with our country. They couldn't make a deal to get any energy from the Biden administration. They just couldn't do it. There was nobody to deal with. They didn't know how to go about it. And they're very happy that we're here. But we're going to really benefit our taxpayers, and we're going to benefit our country. So I want to thank everybody for coming. This is a very big bill. This is really going to be energy dominant. We're going to be energy dominant like nobody else. And this doesn't even discuss all of the electricity that we're going to be producing for all of the AI plants. You know, they need double the electricity at least that we have right now. So you take all of our electricity that we have all over the country just for AI to do it right and to win that war, which we're leading by a lot because of what we've done over the last few weeks. We're leading by actually a lot. But if you take all of it, we have to double our electricity needs just for the AI, and that doesn't include the other technologies. So it's a real honor to sign this bill. We're going to also work on CAFE standards. Lee, you're going to be doing that and make that whole situation, bring that back into reality, and I think very quickly having to do with cars. Thank you very much.
Let's take a quick break from his signing to go to U.S. aid funded. I don't know if y'all heard. U.S. aid funded Al-Qaeda, Taliban, ISIS. U.S. Congressman Scott Perry drops bombshell. Can't believe to hear that USAID, a governmental charitable organization, somehow has ties to Al-Qaeda through funding them, Taliban, ISIS. This U.S. Congressman Scott Perry is going to drop bombshell about the House hearing. It is ridiculous. Please hit that like button. It does not cost anything. There are 3 buttons at the top right-hand corner that you can hit and then thumbs up, or you can double tap the screen to thumbs up the video. I would greatly appreciate it if you do. You're here. Might as well.
Taliban is classified.
Hold on.
And if you don't know, the
I gotta have you here to the very, very, very beginning. Let's not play that.
you
Okay.
don't have to be a rocket scientist. You can just read the Taliban is classified. And if you don't know, the Taliban's in charge of Afghanistan. They're classified as a specially designated global terrorist organization by OFAC. So post 2021, so this is last year, 2024, we spent $697 million of the taxpayers' dollars in Afghanistan, including $534,719,000 in change from USAID in Afghanistan. Afghanistan is ruled by folks named Sarajuddin Haqqani. Haqqani network mean anything to anybody in the room? How about Abdullah bin Laden? Who gets some of that money? Does that name ring a bell to anybody in the room? Your money, $697 million annually, plus the shipments of cash funds madrasas, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, ISIS Khorasan, terrorist training camps. That's what it's funding.
I now recognize Representative Perry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. USAID was created through executive order in 1961 by President Kennedy, long having lost and strayed from its mission, lost its direction. Even the Clinton administration tried unsuccessfully to reform it. And we spend, I don't know, somewhere between $40 and $50 billion annually on this organization. And with the things that you hear, well, many of us, probably most of us in this room, agree with projecting America's power for the good of all the world around the globe. Quite honestly, if our enemies were asked to design a foreign aid program that would actively undermine the United States of America at maximum cost to the taxpayer, they would be hard-pressed to create a scheme more effective than USAID. That's shocking to say, but I just, it's, look, let's just go to a couple things here. We left Afghanistan, and I'll just characterize it as left in August of 2021. August of 2021. So the Taliban's in charge. Taliban threatens the lives of the NGO personnel distributing USAID. They claim credit for USAID distribution. They interfere with the distribution of USAID aid. They tax the beneficiary of the aid. They tax the delivery service. They steal the food commodities. They divert the funds. They extort citizens for protection for USAID aid. They create sham procurement schemes, and they threaten the lives of those who oppose those schemes.
If you've recently been injured in a car accident that wasn't your fault, I've got one question for you. Do you know how to get the maximum?
They threaten the lives of those who oppose those schemes. Now, that all occurred before August of 2021, when we were there. Now, you don't have to be a rocket scientist. You could just read the Taliban is classified. And if you don't know, the Taliban's in charge of Afghanistan. They're classified as a specially designated global terrorist organization by OFAC. So post 2021, so this is last year, 2024, we spent $697 million of the taxpayers' dollars in Afghanistan, including $534,719,000 in change from USAID. And
you guys hear that? Maybe we need to hear it again. Now, this is the type of waste that needs to be combed out, targeted, blown up to smithereens. Listen to it again.
They're classified as a specially designated global terrorist organization by OFAC. So post 2021, so this is last year, 2024, we spent $697 million of the taxpayers' dollars in Afghanistan, including $534,719,000 in change from USAID in Afghanistan. I don't know what we think we're going to change in Afghanistan. We lost 22,000, lost or wounded 22,500 Americans in Afghanistan over the course of our term there in the war, spending over $2 trillion. We're just going to keep on spending because somehow we think it's going to get better. And if you're wondering who's in charge of Afghanistan getting the money, and that money I just mentioned, the $697 million is on top of, and is in addition to the weekly to every 10-day shipments in cash of $40 to $80 million. Afghanistan is ruled by folks named Sarayuddin Haqqani. The Haqqani network mean anything to anybody in the room? How about Abdullah bin Laden? Who gets some of that money? Does that name ring a bell to anybody in the room? Because your money, $697 million annually, plus the shipments of cash funds madrasas, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, ISIS Khorasan, terrorist training camps. That's what it's funding. If you think that the program under Operation Enduring Sentinel, entitled Women's Scholarship Endowment, which receives $60 million annually, or the Young Women Lead, which gets about $5 million annually, is going to women who, by the way, if you read the Inspector General's report, is telling you that the Taliban does not allow women to speak in public. Yet somehow you're believing, and American people are supposed to believe, that this money is going for the betterment of the women in Afghanistan. It is not. You are funding terrorism, and it's coming through USAID. And it's not just Afghanistan, because Pakistan's right next door.
Damn. What the fuck? So this is a good thing to uproot and to discover and to, bury or to destroy. Either way, gotta go. It's a good thing to do for what Elon Musk is doing so far in that regard. But I just need to watch him closely. He just need to bring out the facts for what he's doing, for us to see what he's done. But yeah, there needs to be a cleaning. It has to be a cleaning. I'll come to the chat room in just a moment, but I want to finish a little bit more of this, just that we understand the corruption that's in our government and what Trump's been up against. And the Democrats are the ones that have a lot of explaining to do. They have a lot of explaining to do, but they're not going to do, because they think they don't have to say nothing to little old me, for instance, because I'm just a black something. I'm just a black woman. I ain't nobody important. I don't got no power. I ain't got no money. People playing us like we slaves, like we need to be dealt with. It's just really a trip to see this. Let's go.
USAID spent $840 million in the last 20 years on Pakistan's education-related program. It includes $136 million to build 120 schools, of which there is zero evidence that any of them were built. Why would there be any evidence? The Inspector General can't get in to see them. But you know what? We doubled down and spent $20 million from USAID to create educational television programs for children unable to attend the physical school. Yeah, they can't attend it because it doesn't exist. You paid for it. Somebody else got the money. You are paying for terrorism. This has got to end. I yield, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Perry. In addition, we don't even have an embassy in Afghanistan. Chair now recognizes the representative from California, Mr. Barra.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to start off by, I know a lot of USAID workers, former workers, alumni are watching this hearing. I want to thank them for their work. They're patriotic Americans. They're out there. They're doing God's work, helping save lives. And and everything else. And I'm sorry that you
They're doing God's work, huh? He must be a Democrat. They're out there doing a God's work. We're about to see what kind of God's work they've been doing.
caught up in this. So I want to appreciate this on behalf of the United States of America. You guys are patriotic Americans. I visited with a lot of these folks. I travel a lot, gone into refugee camps, and have seen what they do in terms of life-saving stuff. And again, it's super important work that they do. It represents the best of American values, and it is really sad to see these folks get thrown under the bus. When we talk about stronger, better, more prosperous, I think we're all in favor of that. We're all in favor of working together. Mr. Chairman, Congressman Yoho's my classmate, and he may have been more conservative than you when he got to Congress. Ted, you and I traveled, I think, on your first trip abroad. We went out and saw some of these USAID projects. I watched you over time, become the champion of the BUILD Act, the champion of reforms, and we've continued to stay in touch. Now, what saddens me about this whole approach, now I'm not going to talk about Elon Musk. I'm not surprised by how he's approaching things, but this isn't Twitter. I don't want a 21-year-old tech bro going through deciding which programs we should continue and not continue. Mr. Chairman, I want us to work and do that work. We can go line by line, or we could hire Mr. Yoho to go through line by line and say, hey, here's the programs that make sense, here's the ones that don't. But that's our job. That's what we're supposed to be doing. That's our oversight. I don't want that 21-year-old tech bro, probably has never traveled anywhere, has no passport, doing our job. Let's do this work together. And I'm not here to defend every USAID program, but I do believe it serves.
What's not having a passport have to do with just common sense and understanding what has happened with this money? What's going on? All these monies for Al-Qaeda? Like, you can't really talk away from that. These people supposedly did 9/11. Used a plane and flown in buildings. And yet they have monies to help support them, funded by this USAID. It's very bizarre. Who authorized is what I would like to know. I know they're Democrats, but which one? Give me names. I want names. But it's sad. I'm lucky that I can only play a couple of more minutes and then when I'm going to go. I just want you guys to see what this was all about. That the corruption is at the all-time high. A lot of people playing dumb. A lot of people have already got their cut. A lot of people ain't concerned about shit.
A really important purpose for our values. We've read Heritage Foundation reports. I worry about what's happening in the Pacific Islands. They put out a good report. We've met with them. We're ceding our influence there. We're already seeing China step in and take things over. We're watching in Cambodia and Southeast Asia, programs that are good programs like demining. China stepped in, it's front page news. Let's not shut everything down. Let's make necessary reforms. Let's, as Congressman Yo said, let's focus on humanitarian aid. Let's focus on development. And let's look at the programs that do this. For the American people, the most successful development program in the history of the world was the Marshall Plan. That was us. That was the United States of America rebuilding Europe, creating stable democracies, preventing war, lifting hundreds of millions of people out of poverty. That was us. We can do this, and we can do it better and smarter and not betray our values as Americans. But we should do this. This is Congress's job. It's not someone else's job. And I'm willing to work with you to figure out what programs make sense. Let's write a foreign aid authorization bill. But let's do it in a smart way. Let's get former administrators in here. Let's us do the work. Democrats and Republicans to rebuild a better, stronger, more prosperous USAID. Congressman, we're friends and we've stayed in touch over the years. I appreciate the BUILD Act. That was bipartisan, and your leadership there. I am a little bit worried because I've heard President Trump talk about creating a sovereign wealth fund, perhaps making that DFC's mission. Will you actually talk about the difference between DFC and sovereign wealth fund?
What I see is the DFC was designed for a specific purpose when we put it together. We wanted to move countries from aid to trade. That was our big thing. And I won't go into why I came up with that. We were on a Codel over in the DRC. And if they want to create a sovereign wealth fund, I think they should do that separately. And I think there was an executive order, in fact, to do that, which is good because if you put it in the DFC, it starts clouding the mission. Are we going to do development? Or are we going to do build a trust fund or the sovereign wealth fund? And you start clouding the mission and you get away from what I like to call purity of purpose. The DFC was for hardcore infrastructure projects that will bring in other investors in a region that needs those jobs and the opportunity so that we can wean them off foreign aid. Foreign aid by itself has not brought anybody into prosperity. But working together to build that infrastructure, to create that structure there, that brings in the opportunity, outside dollars, and then we create friendships and allies around the world. Increases trade.
Mr. Chairman, I'm willing to work. Let's do the work here in Congress in this committee, and let's build a better, stronger, more prosperous.
And I commend you guys for saying that.
Could I just add something, if I could? Gentleman's time has expired. I do think.
It's a lot, y'all. It is a lot. Do you guys trust these people talking? Let me know if you feel like they were about what they were talking on, or was it just for show? But the USAID funded Al-Qaeda, Taliban, ISIS. U.S. Congressman Scott Perry drops the bombshell. That isn't tremendous. Now, thinking about the cartels of Mexico, because that has always been talked about as far as these mass deportations and blocking and barring them from being able to have access to America. They are now being designated terrorist organizations by Trump administration. They have been designated to be that. Let's take a listen to that.
8 groups based out of Latin America are expected to be added to the list, though that list may not be finalized just yet. This comes after President Trump signed an executive order on his first day in office calling for a crackdown on major drug cartels, and these are some of the images coming in from ICE and Homeland Security of those arrests. The order did state the cartels, quote, constitute a national security threat beyond that posed by traditional organized crime, adding that the U.S. would, quote, ensure the total elimination of the group. President Trump has reportedly given Secretary of State Marco Rubio about 2 weeks to work with other cabinet members to compile the list. Trump has made the war on drugs a priority during his second term in office. I want to discuss all of this and the implications here, so let's bring in Nick Damaro, the CEO of LEAD, Law Enforcement Against Drugs and Violence. He is also a former New Jersey police officer and detective. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us today.
Hey, Josh, thank you very much for having me.
Of course. Well, first off, I do want to ask you, what does this designation, making these cartels, labeling them terrorist organizations, what exactly will that do?
Well, it gives the ability for harsher penalties, broader surveillance at the border, and use of military if needed to address this issue.
And it is an issue, of course, that President Trump has made a priority. He's been talking about it really since he started campaigning for his second term here. Do we have any idea which cartels are likely to make the list?
Well, I know the Sinaloa Cartel and Jalisco New Generation Cartel are the two most prominent right now and should be on the list. We have to remember, first of all, I'd like to applaud President Trump for his actions here. it's an issue that got out of hand. The southern border. We had a radio show, Battling Drugs, the lead guy, and I've been pushing for the last 2 years on the southern border. We needed to address it. So it's really a big issue of focus. We need to focus on the southern border to stop what's coming into this country.
Any idea why something like this hasn't been done in the past? I know it's probably been discussed, but why is this the first time this is happening?
Well, I have to say, the DEA, I've known prior administrators with the DEA, and they're a great agency. And they do a great job. It's above them. They have to focus on this. They need the support that they need to address these issues. And I think it's an administrative focus that is why it's so important for President Trump. He's got a good team. He's got the DEA. He's got the FBI and a great military. And I think he's got the support. It just has to be an administrative focus. And I applaud President Trump for doing it. It's needed.
What sort of impact could this have on the crisis at the border? Again, it's an issue that has been discussed for months upon months, years upon years. What impact could designating the cartels as terrorist organizations possibly help with the border and the flow of drugs into the U.S.?
Well, I think the more pressure you can put on the cartels to stop what they're doing. They're very powerful organizations. They've infiltrated street gangs throughout the United States. And it's become a problem. And organizations like LEAD, we can only do so much in preventing the usage of drugs when it has to be a dual-edged sword. It has to eliminate the supply and the demand.
How has the flow of fentanyl into the U.S. changed over the years? Are we still seeing kind of the same uptick?
Well, I think what you're seeing is Narcan saving many lives of people. And I think that's really a sad state of affairs, because I believe that fentanyl, as much as the DEA has done a great job in confiscating fentanyl throughout the country, there's still so much in here that can kill. And, the DEA One Pill Can Kill initiative is very important. It really can. But we really need to address this on a more aggressive focus, and I'm glad this administration.
Yeah, they really ought to, and something has to give. Some has got to give. They should not have free reign to run around and do whatever they want to do and causing maximum deaths behind their drugs and everything else that they do. Unaliving people, kidnapping people, all that kind of thing. Now, the last part of the USAID, I just found out that they also funded something called Boko Haram. So in addition to ISIL, all the other Islamic extremism, Al-Qaeda. Now we have Boko Haram in Nigeria. Boko Haram in Nigeria might be in other places too that they go, but I always hear of them being in Nigeria. So let's listen to this real quick, just to understand, really, the entities that are a part of America was not about our agenda. It was not about trying to further our advancement and better the situation for the people. It's been outsourced. It's been outsourced, and it's been allowed to just do something totally different from what you would desire to do. So, wow. Hold on, let me get.
All right, then it's time now to review headlines in today's newspapers, and we go right into it. With this day, Nigeria's newspaper of record. Let's take it from top to bottom. And the window story says Nigeria's crude condensate output hit over 3-year high in boost for 2025 budget. That story is on page 5. So is the next one. Federal government ignore Gambarian's falsehood against Nigerian government officials. That's the gentleman from Binance, who's been squealing, isn't it? 150.
Yeah, he did speak to NPR and Wired about his experiences in Nigeria. He has allegations of corruptions levied against 3 members of the House of Representatives, including the deputy spokesman, Honorable Philip Agbese. He has also levied some very curious corruption allegations against the NSA, Nuhu Ribadu, and said that it was a shakedown that did not go well for the Nigerians.
And the federal government says, ignore it, it's talking balderdash.
Yes.
Is anybody trying to investigate, or the guy's just bitter or what?
Well, we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
We'll see how that.
Wow.
And the next story, Tinubu, Obasanjo, Jonathan, Buhari, Atiku, Obi, governors. Others mourn Pa Adebanjo at 96. Says deceased principal voice of political activism will be deeply missed. Declare he will be remembered as foremost nationalist, patriot who gave his best as active community leader. That's celebrating Pa Adebanjo, who passed on yesterday at 96. We discussed him already. And of course, the lead story concerns as U.S. Congressman alleged USAID funded Boko Haram. That story is on page 5 also.
Yeah, I find that story. Yes, I find that story to be one story that we need to take very seriously.
It's very troubling.
It's very troubling, but I don't find the allegations from Scott Perry troubling. I find Scott Perry troubling. He also has alleged that ISIS carried out the Vegas shooting. He alleged that the KKK is a military wing of the Democratic Party. But when we talk about the funding of terrorism in Nigeria, we have seen the U.S. Treasury and the UAE come out and say that certain people were funding Boko Haram and trying to create a Boko Haram cell in the UAE. Those people have not been brought to book.
And Boko Haram terrorizes northern Nigeria and other places. I can't remember if Burkina Faso had Boko Haram or was it Al Qaeda, one or the other. But they have these Islamic extremism types. They live over there and they get to do what they desire to do, which is a lot of fucked up stuff. And somehow our government got involved with this type of situation. Boko Haram, people that are trying to have a statement for Sharia law and all these other type of things. They want women to be submitted and covered up and all these types of stuff. They pray so many times a day and just different things that they are partaking in. But Boko Haram is not a friendly situation. And why are we associated with it? What person fit that in that picture? Like Obama? Who? I want to know. But yeah, this is crazy, y'all.
Knowledge in Nigeria. We've seen Al Qaeda give training and financial support to Boko Haram. We haven't seen those follow-up investigations, and we haven't seen anyone be brought to. But there are many things to investigate before we focus on USAID, which he himself, Scott Perry, supported USAID. He went to Afghanistan with USAID, but now that Trump doesn't like USAID, he now does not like USAID. But most of
if money went anywhere in a suspicious manner, we can't look away.
We can't look away. But I think we need to be careful because these aid agencies that are going to different areas of our country, like MSF, like USAID, that are providing support for the most vulnerable of Nigerians, we don't want to put a target on their back without doing proper investigation. That's the good part that we can ignore.
But then if there are issues, we also shouldn't close our eyes. Last but not the least, on the cover of today's this day, two Baba's family writes DSS. declared singer missing. What's happening with your friend too?
Well, that's what I really wanted to showcase. Someone else is missing, possibly, but I wanted to let it be known about the concerns of the U.S. congressman alleging USAID funded Boko Haram. That's big. That is big. That is way big. Let me see. That is way big. What's up, Tyron? Golden Brown, Tahaka, Machiavelli, Easy Axe, rather, Lord. MTG, John Ecker, John Apple Swoop, Richard Miller. Please like, share, and subscribe. You know, I just realized that there's a lot of guys that watch me. I looked at my analytics yesterday, and it's bar none, guys watch me the most. So I appreciate all the support. But you guys can hit the like button. You guys are hitting the subscription button, which is cool. I like that too. I'm 12,000 right now. But sometimes the like would help with promoting the video. So I hope that you guys would consider that. And just hit the like. Okay, I'm good. Thank you. A lot of racist, mama. Well, who's a lot of racist? I'm not racist. My truth, you're the truth. Thank you for that. I try to be. You know, I'm trying to be. We're going to get real deep in a minute. Because I got a tail end of, or a part of, Tariq Nasheed talking a little bit earlier. And I want to really hone in on this Pan-African talk once and for all. Okay, where am I going? You said, in a data-related story, the CIA in the 80s funded the Contra rebels of Nicaragua to overthrow the Sandinistas, and they said, and they did this by the trafficking of cocaine into the United States. This is a true story? Whoa. How long ago was that? That's crazy. Why not all drug dealers, especially in 13662, plenty of international traffic, but it is New York State. Richard said he's lying. Trump 2028. You said the dude smart as a bag of hammers. Bet not especially a white man. Trust no one, exactly. Tahanga educated. Scary asses. Well, they became like BlackRock and started all this DEI, social credit score nonsense. So was it widespread of DEI? Like, is that how it's been? Because I don't know. Let me know, you guys, if y'all know about how widespread it was and how long it lasted. When did it start? And Democrats pocketed it. 2010, Black Farmers of America received reparations, and another group received it back in the 80s, I believe. Some's got to give. It was always paid out, but on two different occasions might want to go after the upper class black folk. We have 99 people in the room. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Yeah. They're listening. Every word. Hanging on every word. But they won't hit the like button. It's very interesting. So what I want to do now is talk about the video that partially Tariq Nasheed had. It was a lot of truth on what he was saying. I just got to find the timestamp and whatnot. So while I do that, I'm going to play a song real quick, just so that you guys soothe your soul. I got time to like jazz it up a little bit. Might as well. Ain't no sense of rushing. You guys ain't supporting me no way, so I might as well do what I want to do. You know what I mean? Might as well. Protected my heart right from the start. Sensing the vibe so strong and true, the very best I've always shared with you. And if I should fall, or if I'm standing tall, I can see you standing there. Always willing to share each and every part of me. And you see things I never see. And you're the best thing yet to ever come into my life. And you're the best thing yet to ever come into my life. Deep down in my mind, I wonder at the blessing that I could find someone as loving as you, and bring into my life this feeling so right and so true, like a flowing water of a silver stream, and like a misty vision in a midnight dream. Such a wonder life to me, so rare. It's such a reason to be. You're the best thing, yeah, to ever come into my life. You're the best thing, yeah, to ever come into my life. Yes. I definitely needed to hear that. That was awesome. Awesome. Anita Baker, back in the day, 1983, that song came out. Wow. There is a video that Tyreek Nasheed has called "Is There a New Reparation Finesse?" I believe that there is definitely a newfound reparations finesse to try to get us back on the Democratic train, to be bogged down and believing in this nonsense of getting reparations, because there's just not going to happen right now. It's not going to be that. And so to be arguing and talking about reparations is pointless to me. So I'm not in agreement to what Tariq Nasheed and his followers think about that. We got clowned in California. The CBC decided to take the reparations bill and not even put it on the floor deliberately. When she had the chance, they had the opportunity to put it on the floor to be heard, and somehow it was denied just because by the very people that was supposed to do it. It was very interesting, and now they want to revamp it. They want to bring it back to life. They want to act like it's going to do something. It's going to be moving places, and it's just it's nothing but a hustle. It is nothing more than a hustle. Them trying to get us emotionally triggered. Oh, let's get back on code to try to like see about reparations and travel, go protest or whatever the case may be, because they want y'all to be protesting fools for what these situations is going on right now. They're very upset that we are not acting the way that they thought that we should be acting like. They really underestimated us. They really did. What's up, Luz M? You said he didn't study that ish, just like his Haitian grift. You said Tyreek did get clowned in California. He was about to get hands and feet put on him out there. Oh, wow. Uh-oh. You said he was out here stealing content from Hard Cold Alcon, delineating from tethers, which who did? Who the one did that? Tyrone, you talking about Tariq? You said from tethers, which was meant separate from Pan-Africans. He stole from Phoenix Moon, Young Noble, and Johnny Aborigine. Let me know who you're talking about, Tyron. You said I asked Tyreek to give a complete sentence in Tuanese. He refused, just ignored me. Oh, it does feel like it's a gimmick, man. And more so than that, it has to get off of YouTube. It has to go where, the Congress is, the legislations is, this is what's disappointing about Yvette Carnell. She used to be at one of these governmental positions she had long ago. She does not bring in stuff that she can write and submit to be looked at on any level. She just never have tried to do anything other than we gonna just do chapters and I got a lawyer, and that was it. She never said nothing, never did nothing. So I could not have no faith in that whatsoever. And Tyreek Nasheed, he's very successful on the people that he now preaches to and talks to and hangs out with. And yeah, it's like a club. But it's a good thing as far as having goodwill, feeling about yourself. You got to feel good about yourself. And I think declaring your identity, regardless, whatever it is, would allow you to declare yourself. And people don't want you to declare yourself, whether it be FBA, ADOS, Indigenous American, or whatever else you might want. Freedmen, colored, black, all those different names. You said he made up a word, Majora, to refrain from saying so, because he can't copyright it like he did with FBA. He stole toot language from Gloria McElwain, which I was never used by majority slaves. Huh? Yeah, I asked Tariq to give a complete sentence, and he refused. He was out here stealing content from Hard Code, Aquan delineating from Tethers, which was meant separate from Pan-Africans. He stole from Phoenix Moon, Young Noble, and Johnny Aborigine. What's up, Luce? He didn't study that shish, just like his Haitian grift. Who are you talking about? Who's Haitian? Tyreek did get clowned in California and was about to get hands put on him. What would the world be like if the media treated Trump like they treated Biden and Harris? Oh, they can't do that. I'm so happy I voted for Trump. Me too. I'm still happy right now. Things are changing quick, though, I must say. Mega Master Flow says DEI didn't earn it. And Tyron says, I'm talking about Tyreek. He had info from them on his videos. He saw African Americans ain't African. Alquan, Dane Calloway, influencing people on the Aboriginal paradigm and decide to cash in on it. Well, yeah, he's making money too. Everybody's making money off of our notion of our identity, and that's about it. It has to go somewhere else other than that. It can't stay just there, or it's not legitimate. It's just nothing more than a hustle. It cannot stay there. You have influence, Tariq. You can cause people to start calling and faxing and emailing, trying to get a hold of Trump. All of us collectively just slam the White House, slam where he is. Something. Calls, faxes, email, just to get and make some noise. He doesn't want to make no noise. So he's content. Tariq Nasheed, you're content. You don't want to make no noise. And that's my problem with you. Because you got to make noise to make something happen different. So now, let's now get to the part where I was going to show you with him. Thought it was a pretty good statement that he made, though, in this live. So other than the reparations part, I think that reparation talk is nothing more than just wasting your time and effort and energy towards something that's not really going to manifest. I mean, you can stay on top of it, but to just believe that is what's about to happen when they keep acting out and showing you how manipulative they are leads me to believe that they're not really going to do anything for us in that regard. They're just going to keep us on a string and play with us like a cat with a nip.
Compensated for my loss, me losing my family in Africa. No. We're not going to have that backdoor thing. And I talked about this the other day, how cats were actively selling people. You see, and you already have politicians trying to push for global black development instead of direct financial compensation to foundational black Americans. That's why they got these narcs and cobras running around here talking about reparations should be repatriation back to the motherland. Damn that. Damn that.
That's so disrespectful. Talking about repatriation back is the reparations just to bring your ass back where Africans don't want to be. Most of them. I don't want to be there. I never desire to go there. That's not going to work for me. People that speak about wanting to get citizenship, That's them. The vast majority of us do not fucking want one nor care. Does not make sense to do. And you're putting yourself at risk, I believe, period.
Yeah. And like I said, man, the U.S., they legally enslaved a specific group of people, not a broad African population. And many slave records, census records, legal documents from slavery and Reconstruction, it refers to Negro freedmen, Indians, and American slaves. It didn't say Africans. Many of those laws over here, if you look at those laws, they didn't say African. If you look at those laws, 1600s, 1700s, the word African wasn't in there. It was like Negro, black, colored. They would call us Indians, mulattoes, all types of stuff. You see, freedmen. You did? So we got to be very, very meticulous about this thing. We got to be very airtight about it. It has to reflect the direct, traceable lineage of foundational Black Americans, not a general African heritage. See, that's why they always trying to tie us to some tribe. You look Igbo. And if we say, okay, I guess I am. And then the people over in Africa, the Igbo tribe is like, hey, give me money for my brodas. See, it'll turn into that.
Exactly. Capturing your ass. Capturing. And I've been seeing people like advertise that they got money on Dynasty Mir's platform. He had a guy that outright said he was a millionaire dealing with trucks and whatnot. Everybody was happy to hear from him. Is on and cracking. He kept saying he was a Nigerian because he's 47% Nigerian or some bullshit like that. It's like, what the fuck is going on? But no, that's not what's going to catch me is a kit of DNA. That is not going to do it. It's not the truth. Those people have been different all my life. Now, all of a sudden, we're supposed to pretend like they're not different. It's weird. Truly weird. They came from nowhere talking this talk. It's all an agenda. As I said, they're struggling. They're scrimping and scrumpling. And they want us to be footing bills for them is what they desire. They want an ecosystem whereby you contribute so much money a month, just like that ADDI database of Dr. Ericana. They want to put you on some type of hook. That's all they've been trying to work on doing. And little by little, it's starting to work. Little by little, some of y'all are listening to these people. I've been screaming to the mountains, but I don't be really screaming no more. But I be trying to like let it be known, plainly, so that we can understand what's up. But we got a lot of deceptive people in our midst. They're all over the place. Actually, to be honest, they're flopping all over the place right now. They're getting on my last nerves. It's crazy. Let me see what you guys have to say in the chat room, and then I'll continue, because it's about to get really interesting on that part of the live. Let me see. I hope you guys had a happy Valentine's Day if you celebrate it. Probably not that many people went out, though. Okay. Okay. Where was I? What's black outside, white inside? You said one's view. You're right. For black, our government does a lot of shady-ish. Sometimes our government funds both sides just to sell arms and keep ish going. And that is corruption and just got goddamn shame. Yeah, it is, Easy Acts. A lot of racist, mommy. For Black You Good. Thank you. You're the truth. Know them. I don't know what you're talking about. Why you stop HIV meds? What are you talking about? Why you said why us stop HIV meds? What are you talking about? You can call me easy. I don't mind. And I am one of those guys that listened to you since 3 years ago, fam. I'm glad you do. Because you should have a pretty good perspective of where I'm at right now, I would imagine. We got to get on the phone one day and have a conversation, Easy X. To Africa, where they gonna go now. Giving them heart they don't got. I haven't heard of Black farmers getting reparations, but the Freedmen's Bank were robbed. Yeah, that's true. They're just ripping us off. Tyreek Nasheed be mixing the dope on the ideology, FBA ideology, because he Africanized our culture in hidden colors and didn't take accountability for that. That's why he can't be my leader, because he's already went too far. He should have never been on that side. Ever. I have never been on that side, so I'm a pure nationalist. I'm a pure Frederick Douglass type. I am pure an advocate for myself as I am, not how people are trying to make me be and try to punk me, bully me, capture me. No, we're not doing none of that. So I am different. But speaking of, today is Black History Month. I wanted to play a little bit of Fannie Lou Hamer so that you guys can remember who she was before I get back going. She had a couple of things that she had said, and I thought it was very interesting. So I hope that you guys would hit the support of the thumbs up and support me by subscribing. But listen to what she had to go through back in this time while we say people made sacrifices for us.
On June 9th, 1963, Fannie Lou Hamer and other civil rights activists were arrested in Winona, Mississippi. The demonstrators refused to leave the white section of a Greyhound bus they'd been traveling on. When they arrived at the Winona bus depot, they continued their protest by sitting at the white-only lunch counter inside the terminal. The police ordered the group to go to the colored side of the depot. They were arrested when one of the group tried to write down the police officer's patrol car license number. At the county jail, white jailers forced 2 African-American prisoners to beat Mrs. Hamer with loaded blackjacks. Mrs. Hamer was nearly killed. As she regained consciousness, she overheard...
She was nearly killed, y'all. This lady right here was nearly killed for her plight and fight for civil rights. Listen to it again.
Continued their protest by sitting at the white-only lunch counter inside the terminal. The police ordered the group to go to the colored side of the depot. They were arrested when one of the group tried to write down the police officer's patrol car license number. At the county jail, white jailers forced 2 African-American prisoners to beat Mrs. Hamer with loaded blackjacks. Mrs. Hamer was nearly killed. As she regained consciousness, she overheard one of the white officers say, "We could put them SOBs in the big black river and nobody would ever find them." Mrs. Hamer never fully recovered from the attack. She lost vision in one eye and suffered permanent kidney damage. Despite the trauma Mrs. Hamer experienced, she continued to organize voter registration drives and remained at the forefront of civil rights causes until her death in 1977 at the age of 59. Lawyers with the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee filed suit against the Winona police, but the case was lost before an all-white jury.
Wasn't that sad? Extremely sad. But she did what she had to do to get us to where we are today. And it's just, she just took the beatings and took the embarrassment, took the name calling and the pointing of fingers and the dismissiveness of it all. And she had to really stand tall and be, you know, what she wanted to be in that moment, to rise up and do something that she's, you know, probably wasn't comfortable doing, but she had to do it. Something in her stirred inside of her to make her feel like she had to do something. And she did. So, let me see. All right. It's about another video. All right. Well, that's part of the first part of bringing up Black History Month. The Fannie Lou Hamer is what I wanted to let be known, that I wanted to kind of like keep her spirit in mind with what we go through right now so that we don't forget, because those are our ancestors leaving messages and gems for us to follow and understand and have the passion and the conviction and the righteousness about it all. We have lost all those types of things, and we can get it back by watching somebody like her to remind us. That's why I played it. So I hope that you guys would appreciate it by hitting that like button. So now in other news, there are a lot of different changes that's taken effect with these sweeping and immigration laws there in Florida. So I want you guys to hear what they had to say about what's about to happen in Florida, for instance, and how, you know, this is picking up steam more and more and more. Hold on.
Republican state lawmakers are touting the immigration law just signed by the governor. Critics argue parts of the law are questionable. NBC6 politics reporter Hatzel Vela joins us live now with this ongoing debate. Hatzel.
Roxy, Jackie, a lot of questions about what this means for local law enforcement and how it may affect the trust between police and the communities they work in.
Great work. Big deal right there.
It's been barely 24 hours since Governor Ron DeSantis signed what legislative leaders described as the strongest immigration law in the country. While the language is still being digested, immigration advocates say they see problems with parts of the law, specifically when it comes to local law enforcement.
4C probably has the biggest piece that might impact traffic and traffic stops.
Paul Chavez, an attorney for Americans for Immigrant Justice, says the Florida law includes language similar to the controversial Texas law, SB 4, which has been found unconstitutional. Florida's law says when making arrests, law enforcement agencies should notify Immigration and Customs Enforcement of the unauthorized alien's arrest and provide any known information related to the unauthorized alien.
It's definitely the state attempting to do the job of what is the federal government's job.
In Florida's law, almost $300 million would be allocated to hire more than 50 new law enforcement officers focused on immigration. Immigrant advocates say local law enforcement should not be in the business of enforcing immigration law, as it is complex and a person's immigration status is fluid.
A patrol cop in no way is going to be able to determine somebody's immigration status with any sort of accuracy.
So what ends up happening is racial profiling. People end up being taken to jail.
There are also worries about how this law may affect community policing and trust between people and the police.
People, they want strong immigration, and there's no argument there.
David Magnuson was in law enforcement almost 40 years, mainly with the city of Miami, but ended his career as chief of police at El Portal.
There's going to be luster or anger coming, and that's nothing new. You know, law enforcement's used to that. We deal with it, professionalism at all costs, okay? But it does put local law enforcement across the nation, not just here, in a precarious situation.
Law enforcement, he says, should be proactive, connecting with communities now before things get heated. As for the law, no surprise, expect lawsuits to be filed, especially when it comes to certain parts of the law. For example, using local law enforcement for immigration enforcement. For now, reporting live in the newsroom, Hatsavalla, NBC 6 News.
Well, all I can say, see, just a lot is going on. A lot. Hold on. I wanted to finish up Tariq Nasheed before I forgot. So let me get back to that. I think he gave a pretty good assessment for the most part, other than the parts that I will bring up that I don't agree with. And there's probably about 4 or 5 points I don't agree with.
So the thing is, man, and this is the key thing. When they say descendants of African slaves, you know what that does? That implies a foreign status. You see, the term African, when they keep throwing that on us, that keeps suggesting that foundational Black Americans are basically immigrants,
Mm-hmm.
a foreign born rather than indigenous to U.S. soil as a distinct people.
Yep.
You see, and that false framing, that can be.
And people are trying their best not to allow us to have our own separate identity away from the immigrants. They're trying so hard to say, no, let all the immigrants claim what you're claiming too, you know, and erasing our identity. And this is why FBA, ADOS, Indigenous Americans, such as I say, and other people have their own way of interpreting their identity. Some want to say they're Indian. Some want to say they're Moors. I just say most of all, we all should say American, first of all. And all this other type of thing should be secondary, if that. American is just enough that you need to say who you are. But they're trying to get us to be all revamped over into being just African. And it's like, no, ain't nobody co-signing for that. You need to go away with that bullshit. You African. Stop trying to make me African. It's ridiculous. It's imposing. It's like capturing. It's like trying to round you up, trying to hem you up. That's how it is. They try to make it seem like it's unity. Oh, it's so good. No, it's not, y'all. None of it is.
Is to basically deny claims by asserting that we're separate from the U.S. nation state rather than foundational contributors to it. You see, that's why our patriotism is very, very important. That's very, very important. And understand, it was foundational Black Americans who built the United States, not Africans. Africans didn't build the United States. It was us doing that. That debt is owed to us. You understand? It was foundational Black Americans constructing America's wealth, the infrastructure, the legal institutions. You understand? That's reparations going to be for that stolen labor and the land that was ours, and the economic exclusion of foundational Black Americans. Now for people in Africa, and this is not a diss to Africa. Every time we say something where we say, hey, we need something specifically for us, you know, oh, you niggas hate us. Stop with that bullshit. We talking business right now. You see? And that's why a clear and exclusive claim, that prevents political co-opting. See, by defining our reparations claim under foundational Black American freedmen, it becomes legally specific, politically grounded, and that's exclusive to all of us us who suffered under U.S. slavery and systematic racism. You see, because we open the door. The minute we start saying African, if we sit up and rest on that African, and they know this, by the way, let me tell y'all something. The Democrats, they know that the African term is a trick bag, because you know what that does? If we sit up and go along with that, John Leguizamo's going to show up. You know what I'm saying? John Leguizamo's, he's a different nationality every damn year. 1 week he's Colombian, next week he's Puerto Rican, and then he's Latinx, and then he's Spanish. You think they won't circle back and be like, hey, Aza Negra, my abuela is black, Aza Negra. You think they won't circle back on black? We already have cats calling up here. Y'all know that one tether from New York, the Puerto Rican dude who calls up all the time? He calls here all the time trying to claim he's FBA too, because Puerto Rico is part of America and his grandma black. Out of here. But ain't no dude, nigga. I FBA too. I should give reparations too, man. No. So we got to stop letting people come in with the BS, family. That's not going to work. Let me get my sister Juicy in here. Miss Juicy. What's up, Juicy? Juicy Genius.
Peace and power to you, King Tariq. Shout out to the family in this space. I'm so glad I stayed up for you to wake up this topic, because it is so important. And I realized when exactly what you stated in regards to an African that's currently on African soil in some country can say, oh, they enslaved my great-great-grandfather. So that means that, hey, I'm a descendant of enslaved Africans. Right, Tariq? Right, family? We are an amalgamation of a lot of different, bloods and mixtures. That's what makes us a unique people group. Right?
Yes.
And so we are the descendants of the 14th Amendment. If you're going to bring a study up or bring this HR 40 thing back to the table, you need to just use the language that's constitutionally already embedded. So we as a family need to start communicating constitutionally, legislatively, and look at the 14th Amendment in detail and use the language from that to enforce our claim. They did this, the lady, the bald eagle lady. Listen, they're just looking for a finesse, like you said. They need some PR, they run out of ammo, and they're looking for something to go against this current administration, and it's not going to work. I yield my life. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And Juicy made a very good point. Listen, family, when they say this is for the descendants of enslaved Africans, family, you do know with that wording, some dude sitting in the village in Senegal right now can say, well, shit, I'm a descendant of enslaved Africans. Shit. Let me holler at them about giving me something. You think literally somebody sitting in Africa right now can say that. They can say, well, yeah, my ancestors.
And this is why we have to get our name together, and it has to be known outside of YouTube. Congress, the president, vice president, Congress, the WACP, or what do you call it? NAACP, Black Caucus, and others should be knowing who we are. But no, that's not really being done on purpose. It's like these people have been sent to just keep us stagnated on YouTube and not do nothing, when you have all this influence to do much, much more, and you don't take the opportunity to do much more, encourage your people to do more. What is wrong with us writing letters and faxing and trying to get the word out, to have a conversation with President Trump, to put it out there that we are really seeking to see him or have some type of dialogue or something? But no, nobody says any of that. It's like it's stuck on YouTube. So it's not going to go anywhere. And we're fooling ourselves thinking that speaking on YouTube alone is what's going to catch his attention. That's not going to catch his attention. We don't want to be bypassed, I don't think. I think that we don't want to be bypassed. And we should do something to make sure that we're not bypassed. So let me see what you guys are saying in the chat room, and then let me let you hear some more of this.
stolen. I can't trace it, but yeah, they were stolen from here, and I need to get something too. Steven, what's up, brother?
I have a quick question. And this is genuine. I'm not trying to I don't know how to do this space. It's just, I'm just bringing you a question. So my pops is Jamaican, right?
Yeah.
My mother is from Harlem, New York.
Mm-hmm.
I've recently found out about the foundationally Black American and what y'all about and what y'all base your whole perspective on, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering what's the difference between and it, like I said, this is genuine because I keep reiterating that because I don't want to come off as like,
no, it's good.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I just want to reiterate. You know what I mean? So, what's the difference between what we learned as far as the slave trade and African Americans and generational, like the levels of okay, so I'm 31, right? Okay. So what we learned was everybody that's Black here was descendants of slaves from Africa. What would you, or how would you summarize the difference between foundational Black Americans and what quote unquote Africans claim to, like the difference between what your perspective is and what they and what Africans,
I'm so lost.
I'm having a hard time trying to explain, but you know what I'm saying? Like the foundational Black Americans versus traditional foundational Africans.
Okay, there's no such thing as a foundational African over here. You would be a foundational African.
Not over here, but I'm saying like Africa, because you would just I was listening to you before I asked the question. So in terms of Africans that claim that they should receive certain reparations and everything and versus foundational Black African Americans. And do you consider yourself an African American?
No, I'm not.
Okay, so I wanted to get that clear. Okay, cool.
No, because that's a misnomer. Because I'm not.
Okay, so how do you separate yourself from the African American? And okay, that's my question. Foundational Black American versus the African American.
Okay. Elon Musk is an African American.
Do you miss right off the tee 2 or more times around? Is your distance slipping away with each passing year? Do you leave approach shot?
Foundational Black American versus the African American.
Okay. Elon Musk is an African American.
Okay.
Born in Africa, and he came over here, became an American.
But that's not true. Everybody's trying to play around with that term, but that term is linked to so-called reparations under the HR 40. They call us African Americans against our will. But that's the way that they labeled it. So when you're talking about other groups of people from other places can come and use that term, you're pretty much connecting them to our reparations. And that's not what you should be doing. You should be saying that that man is a South Africaner. He's a South Africaner. That's it. He is not an African American. That's a made up term. He doesn't fit the classification for getting it because he has his own identity. So that's not true. But people keep on playing in our faces about that because they want to undermine that term, but that term need to be dealt with and handled in such a way where it's put to rest. It's put to rest under the right circumstances where people understand why it's being put to rest and why the other term analogy that we call ourselves is going to be recognized from this moment forward, because it's supposedly the language is in the reparations talking about African Americans. It says it a couple of times. So you can't get away from that. So when you say that other people can share that other term, then you're giving them the right to have something to do with what the claim will be about. And that's just not smart. Anyways, let me see what else he has to say.
So he's an African American. That's why. That's the difference. Immigrants can come over here and be African American.
Again, it's as if he's encouraging them to do it. And that's just not what they should be doing. They are Jamaican American. They are Gambian American, Nigerian American. They're not us. But he's trying to say he's delineating, but he's telling the people to gravitate to those terms so that they fight for those terms that they shouldn't be fighting for. They should not be trying to have that term applied to them because they have their own identity. So it's very, very strange. Very strange. Hold on.
Immigrants can come over here and be African American. We are not immigrants. That's the difference. Okay. We didn't immigrate here.
Everybody wants us to use the African American term alongside of the people that is trying to call themselves using it, capturing our identity, capturing our legacy, our history, the meanings of what we've been through. Like, for instance, I showcased one of the videos of Fannie Mae. I don't know if I have one more or not, but maybe I played that one already. But we should stand out as our own. Nobody should be able to duplicate who we are. Other people from all over the globe don't have nothing to do with what she was talking on right here. This was for our people specifically. This is the pain and struggles that we had to endure. She had to really have some trouble behind trying to be righteous in these moments where she tried to come out. No other group of people had to share the same festivities of this, nor the bloodline, nor the pain and suffering and sorrow, depression, and all that other type of stuff. Anger, bewilderment, all the things that would hinder you from being yourself, comfortable. But here she is.
The flag is drenched with our blood. Because you see, so many of our ancestors was killed because we have never accepted slavery. We had to live on it, but we've never wanted it. So we know that this flag is drenched with our blood. So what the young people are saying now, give us a chance to be young men, respected as a man. As we know, this country was built on the black backs of black people across this country. And if we don't have it, you ain't gonna have it either, because we gonna tear it up. That's what they saying. And people ought to understand that. I don't see why they don't understand it. They know what they've done to us. All across this country, they know what they've done to us.
Okay, so let's now get back to Trump, and then I'm going to wrap up the rest of the video. I just wanted to give an opportunity to show other things, and it was kind of getting boring listening to the executive orders by itself, so I needed to rotate it a little bit. But let me see, how can I get back to... hold on. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to play a little bit more. He is almost halfway done.
No, but in 2 weeks we will have another one. Yesterday was very big. Reciprocal tariffs was very big, and I explained to the Prime Minister of India, Prime Minister Modi, very good man. His tariffs are very, very high. India's tariffs are among the highest. And I said, well, now, we were very low. We were the lowest. They're just about the highest. There are others as high, but not much higher. And I said, no, from now on, what we do is what you charge us, we charge you. It's very simple. So whatever you're charging us, you can go as high as you want. Whatever you charge us, we charge you. And I wouldn't say they were thrilled to hear that, but that's the way it is. Tariff, I told you, is a beautiful word. Fourth most beautiful.
Did it make any pledges about BRICS nations not undermining the dollar and then threatened
Yeah.
tariffs?
The BRICS nations, I think that's breaking up very rapidly. We said that if they're going to go in and do anything to undermine the dollar, that includes China. I don't even know that they're a member of BRICS, but they had a few nations get together to try and play cute. And I said, we're going to put 100% tariff on every one of those nations. And at the mere thought of saying that, I think that's all broken up. That idea is no longer sailed. Now, that would be a terrible thing for our country. It would be bad for the world. They wanted to undermine the dollar. 6 nations got together. They want to undermine the dollar. That didn't work out too well. Not going to happen. And we're getting along with a lot of nations now, frankly. There's a lot of respect for the United States. We have regained the respect that we should have, but we've also done things to deserve it. I mean, we freed up our country, and you're going to see this is basically energy dominance, and it's going to be environmentally clean, environmentally wonderful, and taxes will be very reasonable based on this. We're going to make more money than anybody's ever made with energy. We have more energy than anybody else, and it's clean energy, very clean, beautiful energy. We're lucky. We have it. I call it liquid gold under our feet, and we're going to utilize it. So this is a very big bill, and I have a very talented group of people behind me. This gentleman was the #1 man in all of the oil industry. They said there's nobody like him, Chris Wright. And you know Doug actually made a tremendous fortune in technology, and he said, I'm going to run for the governorship of, he loves the state, of North Dakota. And he did, and he made it so energy powerful that I think you're more proficient in energy than technology, but what do I know? And this guy, everybody knows him, Sean. He's been, he's done a fast study on transportation, and he knows, he's learned a lot over the last few months. He's learned a lot. He's really been great. And Howard has built one of the great companies, Cantor Fitzgerald. It was wiped out, completely wiped out, other than a few people left in Europe. And he rebuilt the company into a bigger, better company. Cantor Fitzgerald is one of the most, absolutely one of the top companies on Wall Street, stocks, bonds, trading. And he took that. I mean, he literally watched the plane go into the building, into the World Trade Center. Amazing story. That alone is an amazing story. It was delayed because his wife insisted that he finally, after years, take his child to school. So he took his child to school that one day, because normally he would have been in the building at 6 o'clock in the morning. That's that business, right? So you owe your wife a lot and your child a lot, right? But his wife insisted that he take his child to school. For 5 years he didn't do it. He was horrible. What kind of a father was he? Okay, I'll do it. And he was therefore driving down at 8:43, whatever the time was, down the West Side Highway, and he saw the plane go into the side of the building. He said, wow. And he occupied the top 3 floors of the World Trade Center, of the one building of the World Trade Center. And you know what happened there? He lost 100% of the people in that, his whole company was there. And he rebuilt his company step by step over years and became bigger and stronger. And he gave a tremendous amount of the profit to the families of the people that died, which he didn't have to do. And now he's working with us. He did an incredible job. I mean, anybody in that world, they know Howard Lutnick very well. And I'm honored to have him running commerce. He's going to be incredible. He loves the country. And Lee was a great lawyer, a great congressman, very successful person, both as a lawyer and as a congressman, and knows a lot about the environment, cares about the environment. And we were lucky that I was very happy that you joined. And he was with me right from the beginning, always was with me, and I've always been with him. And Kevin Hassett, we know everybody knows Kevin, and he's fantastic. And you and Lindsay, you and your team are incredible. The job you've done, we really appreciate. Thank Will. And the job you guys are doing is really fantastic. We're knocking this out. Brian, do you have a question?
I actually do. What kind of piqued my interest is growing up on the Texas Gulf Coast, natural gas, the LNG that you mentioned.
Yeah.
What's the potential for like new jobs or growth in that area? I mean, that part of the country, Southwest Louisiana, Southeast Texas, they depend on that.
I would say that potential is simply tremendous. 20 years ago, the United States was the biggest importer of natural gas in the world. And we had natural gas prices 2 or 3 times higher than they are today. But with shale revolution and great entrepreneurs in Texas and Louisiana and across our great country, we are now today the largest net exporter of natural gas in the world. And so much of the world is depending upon natural gas. Is the fastest growing energy source, has been for 50 years. We were the driver of that, and then we paused. We stopped our ability to grow natural gas exports. Both the Japanese government and Indian government expressed great distress about that. They're going to count on energy imports from the U.S., and we may just change our mind. So I think they're thrilled to see the actions of this president say America's open for business. Yes, we have the energy, we have the people, we have huge job opportunities and investment opportunities, not just in the oil and gas industry, but all those surrounding communities that are lifted up by that more production here. And as we produce more production at scale, not only does it allow us to export, but it becomes more efficient, and it helps us drive down the cost for our domestic consumers as well.
I know they're really happy to just let you pay.
Thank you, Brian. And I will say this, that this all started 8 years ago when I got elected. We were doing this, not to the extent that we're doing it now, but we were doing this, and we became number 1 in oil and gas by far. And we were number 3, even number 4, some would say. When I left, we were number 1 by a lot. And then they pulled way back, and the prices started going through the roof. And then they went back to my plan, but by that time the prices had already gone up, so they really disrupted it. But now we're going to take it to a new level. It's going to be amazing. And we're also, it's very powerful, clean coal. We have more coal than anybody. This is good, beautiful, clean coal. And if you notice, China's opening up a coal plant a month. Germany is now opening up a coal plant every 2 months. Very powerful. It's probably the most powerful source of energy in terms of generation of electricity and other things. And we're going to utilize our good, clean, beautiful coal and oil and gas. We have more than anybody of everything, and we're going to take advantage of it. And I appreciate everybody being here.
Mr. President, can I ask you, sir, about what's happening in Munich? Senator Roger Wicker shepherded Defense Secretary Hegseth through his confirmation. He got him through that process, and then he had some tough words for him overseas. He said it was a rookie mistake for Secretary Hegseth to outline what would or would not happen as far as Ukraine's membership in NATO goes. And then
I haven't heard that. I mean, Roger's a very good friend of mine, and Peter's obviously, he's been doing a great job. I haven't heard. Let me look at. You tell me something. I have not heard about.
The question I had is, were you aware of what Secretary Hegseth is going to say in his speech at NATO?
Generally speaking, yeah. Generally speaking, I was. So I'll speak to Roger. I'll speak to Pete. I'll find out.
Mr. Energy Dominance Council. That is for all forms of energy. Does that include
all
wind and
forms
solar?
of energy? Yep.
And the pipeline you mentioned, sir, is that Constitution pipeline in New York? Is that the
I
project?
believe so. Yeah, that's what it is. And they've been trying to get it for 20 years. And what it means is for New York, upstate New York, and even everywhere in New York, also other states, but in particular New England, that New England will now, I think, will cut the energy prices, and big cuts in New York too, but cut the energy prices literally in half. We have the permits. We have permits that just about everything we need a New York permit, and I would imagine they want to, because their energy prices will come down so far. And it's a lot of jobs for New York. It's a great thing for New York. Everybody wants it. We'll be meeting with the various governors, Governor of New York, and the other governors too. And we can have it built in about 9 months, and let's say 1 year, but we can actually have it built in pretty close to 9 months. It's all set. We have most of the permits, almost all of the permits.
And on just, you're prioritizing energy dominance today. You've also prioritized trade balance. The oil industry is a little worried about the steel tariffs. I mean, they put 20,000 feet steel in the ground at a well. How will you balance that? Is there a
You're talking about steel and aluminum.
Steel tariffs.
So the steel, I saved the steel industry in my first term by putting on tariffs because China was dumping massive amounts of steel. Others also, but mostly China. And I put very substantial, we took in $600 billion worth of tariffs from China. No other president's taken up, literally haven't gotten 10 cents from China, not 10 cents. And hundreds of billions of dollars came in from China. And they understood it. They understood what I did. But the dumping stopped. And had I not done that, you wouldn't have one steel mill, I think I can say, not one steel mill operating in this country. And we need steel. We need steel. I mean, there are some things you have to have, and steel is one of them for military, etc. So,
for anyone experiencing blurry vision and concerns about deteriorating sight, do not have an.
I think steel is going to be very strong. It's going to be very strong. I think it'll go back to being really powerful. We saved it. I mean, we were talking about U.S. Steel last week. U.S. Steel would have been closed, totally closed. We saved it. And now it's going to become, I think, very, very profitable. The tariffs are going to save a lot of industries.
He said the tariffs is going to save a whole lot of industries. Well, we're going to have to wait and see what's going to be. So all he's going to do is match the tariffs for tariffs. Whoever, like, for instance, 25% tariffs, you're going to do it to the next or the same country that did it to you and match their tariffs. I don't know how that's going to look, how that's going to be, but it is what it is. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat room. And this is becoming almost 3 o'clock, so let me hurry up. Let me go back up. Do you guys think he's doing a good job so far? Let me know how you feel. How would you rate him from A to F? A being excellent, F being failure. Where do you put Trump at right now? It's been 3 weeks in. He's been moving mighty fast. I wonder. You said, why not be yourself and you are responsible for your actions? Oh, yeah, I am myself. Tyron says to Tahaka, Tariq ain't doing his genealogy and expose it because if he did, his house of cards would all fall and confirm all the rumors. Ooh, all the rumors about his past he denies. Easy access, no reparations, but we can get funding for our community from our government. If we solicit our government, it's all about resources, just like reparations are resources. Exactly. But you understand, Easy Access, we got to do more than just be called something on social media. Everybody's just keeping us all contained comfortably on social media, not doing a goddamn thing. You know, Fannie Lou Hammer, she's a legend. She actually went to where you needed to go to speak her speak and talk her talk. She might have got beat up, put in jail and all that, but she let her presence be seen and felt and heard. That's why I'm showcasing how it's supposed to be, not just on YouTube, comfortable on your couch or in your bed or on the toilet, but actually out in the halls, out where, you know, these people, these governmental people are at, Congress people are at, White House people are at. Nor is Jason Black or Professor Black true. Nobody knows what they look like unless you go to their 7 a.m. premiere. She died young. Who died young? Tyron. That was the past. They fought for you, and you all just want excuses. They are rolling in their graves. God rest their souls. How is that, Debbie? Watch the channel Reparationist Perspective to see the strategy used to get resources for our community from government and strategy how to dismantle the CBC. Okay, thank you for that, Easy X. Let me see. I got to put that in my phone because I will forget it. But yeah, I have seen that lady. She's very passionate about talking about reparations, but it's just, to me, it's kind of like spilt milk, and I don't like to put a whole lot of emphasis on it anymore. IST perspective. Okay. All right. So she did the hearing about a year ago. She did a pandemic. Okay. There's nothing really recent though right now. Oh, there's one coming up. Oh, she did one 6 days ago. Okay. Okay. Thank you for that. Why was we so pressed to eat at their restaurants and stores? Now we don't have those things. Where was I? I just lost myself. Okay, you guys were talking up in this chat room. My goodness, I probably can't read all of them though. What's up, potato? How you say your name? Decaparito. What's up to you? You said money doesn't solve the problem. The issue is in the home and in the community, period. Please explain the detail, please. Nostalgic future. Golden Brown, how you doing? I understand your point about the African American term. I think if we were to request something from President Trump, it would be removed to remove our American African American title, because he named us, he calls us African American with his own words. He thinks that's the wording that we use. He needs to be corrected about understanding that that's not the wording that we would like to use. So we got to say, hey, I understand you're doing a lot of different things as of late, and you might be a little bit too busy, but I just wanted to drop this in on you as far as understanding that we as, Indigenous Americans, or you used to know us as African Americans, but we always like to be called Black Americans since the 80s. We never changed our identity since Jesse decided to change it. We never rolled along with it. And we're asking to have our own identity separate from people utilizing that African American term, because people are joking around about Elon Musk is African American, and other people that come over here is African American too. And we're sick of it because it's erasure. So yeah, I want to possibly write a letter or submit a complaint to somebody about all this stuff while the getting is good, because there's a lot of people that are all over the place with using our identity, and they're confusing our identity even further. You said Black Americans don't know a damn thing about our identity. We just happy talking or taking what they call us. I can't even get my family to agree on what we are, so we are effed. It's sad. It's sad. People have screwed us up so bad. What do they want to call themselves? You ain't getting no money. You don't deserve any money. Hey, the point is, we do deserve money, but will we get it? I'm not losing sleep over it one way or the other. You don't deserve to be in here. How about that? Let me help you out. Bye, clown. Golden Brown says, nostalgic future, please explain the detail, please. He's annoying. Other Land says, I understand your point about the African American term. Yeah, it should be removed. Our African American title should be removed. Not that hard look at the stats. Ridiculous, because it's lies. The Land says, when it's removed, then it will be easier to remove tethers from our group. Africans like Elon are probably the only legal African Americans. Us claiming we came from Africa is speculation. It's annoying. It's annoying. This shit is bothersome. But they're trying to capture our identity, man. Look up the amount of funding, also why in the community worse off now than before. Same thing as yours. Your situation ain't no better. And he's writing a lot. Let me skip some of his stuff. Yes, the so-called Black celebrities failed to reach back to help the communities they've come from. Yes, the so-called Black community in some places have been worse, mostly because the people there don't control their community and can't stop the negative activities. If Trump can change the name of GOM to Golf of America with stroke of a pen, he can approve our name as Americans and sign a reparations bill into law. I know. But I'm just saying that there's nothing that's going to manifest on YouTube. Nothing. So he's just getting paid and she's just fear-mongering and getting paid. And we're looking stupid and watching them like a show, like a movie while they're getting paid. You said the drugs and gun influxes can't be stopped by many people living in those communities, and policing in those communities are usually poor. What has funding done so far? We have the most funding possible right now, and our communities and culture is much more worse off. Well, you mixing probably more than just us. You probably putting all kinds of other melanated people in our group. All kinds of stuff you probably doing. The Land says, I believe President Trump has recently stated that Black Americans are Americans. Biden said African Americans are Americans. So it should be easy for this to be written if it hasn't. Yeah, I got you. You are just asking stupid questions, nostalgic future. He's just annoying. Oh. And he's all over the place. He must write a lot. Other Land says, yes, so-called Black gets funding, but not the most. Many foreign groups continue to get much more, and the funding doesn't help combat the drug influxes, etc. True Black people don't control industries here. In the one they did, which was rap, others are trying to claim it. Yeah, everybody coming. I'm glad you said that, because there was a video I just recently saw of Busta Rhymes claiming that rap came from Africa. Like, what is wrong with these people? It did not come from Africa. Hold on for a minute. Busta Rhymes, where your bitch ass at? He's doing the most. And can you believe SAID is sponsoring Boko Haram? That's the biggest news on this live so far that I've showed. That's unbelievable. What am I looking for? Oh, Busta Rhymes, where are you at? And he has to be over here. While I'm doing that, please hit the like button. I see that there are 68 people in here with me. you might as well support by hitting the like button. Something about the live you enjoy, something you're getting out of it. I hope this is all for educational purposes. It's not meant to be divisive or hateful or any of that. It's just meant to be truthful and honest and transparent. Okay. Yes. If Africans were the founders, the beginners of rap, you would be hearing rappers in Africa fluently rapping and having record deals or having potential of something. You don't hear nothing. It's not so. But somebody said that, Busta Rhymes said that everything stems from Africa, the core, the root. This type of garbage talk. It's ridiculous. And this is why I say we have to fight to maintain our culture, because people are really tripping about trying to steal from our culture right now. It's a trip.
What up, world? Established Rich coming right back at you again. I didn't want to get back into this topic, but Busta Rhymes just put out a new statement where he's saying that hip hop came from whatever. Let's check it out.
A culture that has been born based on it being attributed to the origin, which is Africa. The origin.
That's right.
All right. So now,
how about the rhythm?
When I say
the flow,
my flows with the way I spit, put your hands where my eyes can see. Hit you with no delaying. So what you singing, yo? Silly with the 9 milli with the dilly, yo. So that's on a rhythm level, right? It's Africa rhythm. All right, let's take it further. When you do a bongo, that's all Africa. Wow. It's not America. I can't take it. It is.
You have not heard that sound in Africa. You made that sound up in America. They didn't know nothing about what you've been doing and how you've been rhyming and flowing. It has nothing to do with Africa. It has to do with you and your influence here in America, and also being influenced by being Jamaican too. That's it. You can't be giving homages to Africa like that, because that's ridiculous. It's just really silly.
Hit you with no delaying to what you're singing, yo. Let him know. I'm taking it always back to the origin. So I'm not here to argue. I'm not here to dispute the truth. Y'all can invest your time and waste it trying to dispute the truth. Can't change the truth. Only lies change. Oh, man.
He sounds stupid as fuck, but this is what you got going on. Another unfortunate tether that really feels like he has a right to be able to dictate and make up shit as he goes. And that is just what it is. No African artists are running around rapping and got the flow and doing all these things. They're mimicking us. They sound kind of horrible, most of them. I've never heard a hardcore rapper that was African. Fuck out of here. Never, ever. Never. No. Sorry. Wow. Let me see. I think I had 2 songs that I had to play before I go. I know I played Anita Baker earlier. That song was dope. I love that song. Oh, yeah, I was going to play Curtis Mayfield. So I'm going to do that right now. If you guys have not yet, please hit that like button. Please share and subscribe. And then I'm going to check out after the next song.
Just how much I
Yes. I love that song. Thank you for that selection. Was that Of the Land that did that, or was that Easy X? Easy X, do you have a song you want to hear? I know there's one I'm about to play called Where Would You Go by Babyface. And if there's no other song after that, then I'm going to conclude the live. But I really appreciate everybody for coming out. I really hope that people would support by hitting the like button. It is for free. The three dots to the right-hand corner, you can hit that and then thumbs up the button, or the thumb rather, or you can hit the double screen twice and it should hit the like button. Please support and let me know in the comment section what other types of videos you would like to see, or other things related to the videos that I have shown. If you have any comment or suggestion or understanding about this and that and the other, and you want to reveal your understanding, if you could, please type it into the comment section of the video once it uploads. So I would greatly appreciate that. You said you took the DNA test and they tried calling Black Americans who are at mixture, they call it African diaspora. Yes, some bullshit when they label us country, county specific, Indian, ethnic groups, but don't want us to identify as Indian. Nope. You said he's copying me and everybody on the indigenous paradigm. Wow. Tyreek wanted me to join him in some mentoring program that he has. Ooh, what kind of mentoring program? Are you a woman or a male? What type of mentoring program does he got? Tahanka says, Tyron, as long as the message is getting out, that is all that matters, not whom I came from first. Tyron says exactly. Pan-Africanists and pro-blacks act like eugenicists. Yes, they do. And take a page out the white supremacist book when it comes to this Africa stuff. When nobody in rocks with black power and aligns with whites. Exactly. We cannot receive any kind of reparations without delineation first. So until our government has codified by law our proper delineation, anyone speaking about reparations is a lie and a grift. It is. That's exactly what it is. You know, off the top, we must be properly identified before any reparations discussions. Yeah. He's mixing the dope with the message, though. That's interesting. Until people do their genealogy, you won't get nothing because they're not going to show you whom your people are. As long as the truth comes out, who cares? Fighting about who is delivering the truth make people not watch and want to know because you are warring. Debbie says, why not be yourself? You and only you are responsible for your actions. I am myself, but we got to self-declare our identity, Debbie. Tyron says Tyreek ain't doing his genealogy and expose it because if he did, his house of cards would fall and confirm all the rumors about his past. He denies. Ooh, no reparations, but we can get funding from our community, our government. If we solicit our government, it's all about resources, just like reparations and resources. Yeah, Fannie Lou Hamer, a legend. Yes, I read that. Okay, I went all the way back down. You said my parents never taught me racism as a child. I never got what the color of the skin had to do with hate. That's a good thing. We see y'all in the comments and get the likes up. Make For Black channel bigger. They're haters, a lot of them. Yes, much respect for Miss Fannie Lou Hamer. Like, that was the type of person that was willing to self-sacrifice, and that's what a lot of people look at us as, wanting to self-sacrifice ourselves to better other people's situations. And we're not on that. We're about trying to survive and move different. I didn't see none of the people that are protesting today in the video. Oh, well, they didn't care when the shoe was on your foot, on our foot. Okay. We have always been here, Casey says. Yeah, a lot of us have. That is true. We are not African. We are indigenous people of ancient Turtle Island, now called America. Moors came from Africa too. Tahaka says, Casey says they think if they say it on TV enough, that's what everyone will think is a fact. Yeah, it's true. What about the Indians that enslaved? American Indians. Yeah, they did it a lot of times out of necessity as well, I hear, but maybe not in all cases. Golden Brown says yes, but we must first on our own build a brick and mortar structure and have a place in which we all can come together and build. Yeah, that's the best way to go. Start somewhere. Easy X says both are Black Americans don't know a damn thing about our identity. We just happy talking about what they call us. I can't even get my family to agree on what we are, so we fucked. We do know our identity. That what are you talking about? We know exactly who we are. Hey, what's up, Other Land? Thank you for coming through. I appreciate seeing you. What's up, DiCaprio? You said, I understand your point about the African American term. I think we were to request something from President Trump. It should be removed, our African American title. Yeah. Just imagine if we had at least 50,000 of us flooding the White House, flooding CBC, flooding NAACP, flooding, via fax, letter, email, in person trying to get an interview with them or whatever like that. I think that would make a real big statement at this point about us needing to change our name so that we, don't have these issues that we're having right now. Other Land says, when I removed, then it will be easier to remove tethers from our group. Africans like Elon are probably one of the only legal African Americans. Us claiming we are from Africa is speculation. Let me see if there was a song that you wanted to hear. Hold on. What's up, y'all, granddaddy? What was that? Yeah, you like Curtis Mayfield. Please play The Moments Lovely Wob she loves. The Moments, hold on. I'm going to play my song first so I'll have time to find it. So enjoy this song real quick and then I'll look for your song, Pinky.
We started out the same frame. That kind of grace never rains. But we were fortunate to carry on. We knew just where we stood. But soon as love will be, you time going, and you were so unsure and so afraid of feeling what I was feeling. You were scared that love would blow your heart away, and you were certain that in time our love was strength. So where will you go? And who's gonna love you like I did? Where will you go? And who's gonna love you like I do? What kind of friends could we have been? Yeah. If we had kept when we have made a vow to be the friends we were since we began. But soon as the love will be, you turned away, and you were so unsure and so afraid of feeling what I was feeling. love will throw your heart away. And you certain that in time of love, you were thinking that our love would go astray. Tell me where we go? Tell me who's gonna love me, baby? Where now, baby? Where will you go? Where we go? Tell me who's gonna love me, mama? Who's gonna love me? Who's gonna love? Who's gonna love? Where we go, baby? Who's gonna love me? Say it, tell me. Oh, yeah, for you, baby. Who's gonna be there for you, baby? Who's gonna love me like you need to love? Oh, baby, baby. And you know the love you. Oh, baby.
Okay, all right. I got next The Moments. Lovely way she loves. Okay, hold on. This is for Pinky, and then I play the last song.
When she kisses me, oh, so tenderly, makes me know her love is the only thing. It's such a lovely way. It's such a lovely way. When I'm feeling bad, you know, Jesus pain. When I'm down and out, ooh, baby, make me feel alive again. She makes me know her love is for me, and it's not real, not a fantasy. It's such a lovely place. It's such a lovely place. I remember in the summer sunset, we sat and talked about how we had met. And when the autumn leaves began to fall, I remembered how we sat and reminisced it all. And when the wintry winds began to blow, I held them close, and that made me know. That made me know. That made me know. Ooh.
All right. I still got 2 songs to go. We got, what's this other one? Hold on. If you guys have not yet, please hit the like button. Don't be shy. That was an old school song I never heard of, I don't think. The next one is the Escorts, Look Over Your Shoulder. Hold on.
Light, sweet, made with watermelon seed flour, Simple Mills. I bet it feels like just like
Take a look over your shoulder. Say, you. Come over here. Sit down and let me back to you. I used to say I was sincere, baby. But when you needed the most, I wasn't there. But somehow you can forgive me. Your shoulder. Gonna be waiting patiently. Just look over your shoulder, girl. You're gonna find me all the way. I know you found someone shoulder. Honey, just show that. And girl, I have a right to keep asking you. But if somehow you can't forget me, over your shoulder, I'm gonna be. Hey baby, girl, look over your shoulder. Yeah, you wanna remind I know it's not easy to find someone who cares, especially a love, baby, that's never been shared. But if somehow you can forgive me, if somehow you can forgive me, if somehow you can forgive me, if somehow you can forgive me. Look over your shoulder, you find me. Hey, baby, please take one look over your shoulder. Oh, never gonna be. Hey, baby, please take one look over your shoulder. There, never gonna be.
All right. I got one more song for y'all. The next one will be CC Peniston, called, what is it called? Finally. Oh, I remember this song. I used to like this song. Yeah, this was like a dance tune. Hold on, I think I grabbed the wrong one. Hold on, that one's longer than I expect.
cannot hide it. Meeting Mr. Right, the man of my dreams, the one who showed me true love, or at least it seemed, with brown cocoa skin and curly black hair. Just the way he looks at me, that gentle loving stare. Finally, you come along. The way I feel about you, it just can't be wrong. If you only knew the way I feel about you, I just can't describe it. Oh no, no, finally it's happened to me right in front of my face. My feelings can't describe it. Finally it has happened to me right in front of my face, and I just cannot hide it. Finally it has happened to me right in front of my face. My feelings can't describe it. Finally it has happened to me right in front of my face, and I just cannot hide it. See, so many times you seem to be the one, but all I ever wanted was to have a little fun. But now you come along and brighten up my world. In my heart I feel that I'm that special kind of girl. Finally, you come along. The way I feel about you, it just can't be wrong. If you only knew the way I feel about you, I just can't describe it. Oh no, no, finally it's happened to me right in front of my face. My lips can't describe it. Finally it's happened to me right in front of my face, and I just cannot hide it. Finally it's happened to me right in front of my face. My lips can't describe it. Finally it's happened to me right in front of my face, and I just cannot hide it. Finally,
Well, was that the last song? Hold on. I think that might have been. Before I go, I'll play out to listen to Fannie Lou Hamer. And this will be the last of it to seal this as one of the things that I did for Black History Month. Before this month is over, I want to talk about at least 2 or 3 more people, fit it in as best I can before this month is over. And Lou Hammer is the first one. Lou, what's her name? Lord. Middle name is Lou Hammer.
Thank you very much, Martha Smith.
Fannie.
I don't know whether I'll have to holler or not because I'm just used to talking loud. I don't have too much trouble having to carry my voice. But with this kind of introduction, Martha Smith is a very good friend of mine. I remember going on every station of television with Martha about 2 years ago here at the university in Wisconsin. And honestly, God was one who tickled me to death. You know, I had all kinds of stuff. But she just brought all of that out, and for a while I could relax just doing this show with Martha Smith. I would like to say this is a beautiful audience out here to me this afternoon because I always like people. A couple of weeks ago, I was doing a show in New York City for NBC in the role of a black woman. And somebody asked the question during the time he was on this panel, how did I feel talking to a lot of people? I said, I feel like I always feel because I know out there in front of me is just a little work. You know, so you don't have to worry about it. So you get up and tell them the truth. Now, you might be expecting me to have a long answer written down that I would have to use my glasses every 5 minutes and miss where I am. But I don't carry around a manuscript because it's too much stuff. I'm just up here to rap and to tell you what it is and to tell it like what it is and to tell it like it is. My grandmother was a slave. Liza Glammer. Liza Goba Glammer. She had 20 boys and 3 girls. And I know what had happened to us in the past. But after I become about 13 years old and find out how mean that people could be to people, I said that I was going to do something about what was happening in this city. So that's the reason I become involved in politics in 1964. But it had been other things in my life that I had done that some of the white people don't know that I've done yet. Because number one, I always had to work in their house. So they would tell me that I couldn't eat with them, or I couldn't bath in their tub. So what I would do was eat before they would eat and bath when they were done. I used to have a real ball knowing they didn't want me in that tub and just relaxing in that bubble. Everything they put on them to walk out, and they couldn't wear a line because they had the same thing on them. So when they were saying that I couldn't eat with them, it was sick of me because I was telling myself, baby, I eat first. And one of the other things I done when I was a kid, and I thought that to be a grown woman. You know, we had to watch, you know how we have clothes on to watch for the white people. And if they had a dance in 50 miles, I wanted their dress. Because I was in the road. You know, we had, you know, I was rebelling in the only way that I could rebel. So what I'm saying to you, white America, please don't say what black people can't do because some of the things we've been already doing. We know as well as you know that this country was built on the blood and the sweat of black people. And all we are saying to you today, now what you have done in the past, you've done that. But we can't let you get away with just trying to wipe us out as human beings. I've never been hung up in all of my work in just fighting for the black. I've never been hung up in that because I know that a lot of black people have given their lives. But I also know it was people like meeting of the representatives of the delegation from Mississippi, when they turned us down and told us to accept 2 votes at large, I told them at that time, 68 people were there in that delegation, and all of us were tired. In 1968, we came back to Chicago and we won our seat. 64 hours in the convention, out of the convention, wishing I could go in. In 1968, I was in there wishing I could get out. When I was there, they know there was machine gun shells and mason all the way. Because I had never in my life seen in the land of the free and the home of the brave, which we have translated in Mississippi as the land of the free and the home of the brave. I have never seen a convention that had to be held with fixed bayonets with riots. That means they would stick you if you stand there and shoot you if you run. I was in that convention and I laid for some of them guys that had prayed in me. I laid their lives miserable. I don't know what he, FBI, a Central Intelligence Agent, or what the hell he was, but he was that. Seeing what happened all my life, I've been behind white people and I watched. That's why you made the mistake right here. You put us behind you and we watch. Now we know you and you don't know us.
At our rescue, we are on a mission to end sex trafficking and child exploitation
while empowering